What up, YouTube? Don't regret your past, learn from it. It's your boys, Detroit Love, P-Dubs Arcade Love, Michael B. the Game Genie, and Restalgia with another episode of the Super Game Room Dudes Friday night just got live.
Hey everybody, what's happening to the super duper game room dudes? I, of course, am not P-Dubs. I'm Michael B. A lot of you thought P-Dubs wasn't going to make it tonight, but as you can see, he is here in the top left corner. Unfortunately, P-Dubs isn't feeling up to snuff like he usually is, so he won't be saying anything or doing anything, but we do indeed have P-Dubs here, just like you all asked. No need to freak out, complain that the show's off the rails. P-Dubs is here. And I'm, of course, joined by Detroit Love with another electric opening. Thank you very much, brother. How you doing tonight?
Man, you know I'm doing fantastic. What you say?
I say too many things. And Steven Restalgia. Batman, what are you doing, brother?
Just living my life, bro. Just living the dream over here in Canada.
I'm also in Canada. It's not the dream.
No. You're barely in Canada. You're on some like remote island way out of nowhere. You aren't part of the heart of the country.
That's actually true. Most Canadians actually don't consider Newfoundland to be part of Canada. So that's 100% accurate. And of course, we do have backup tonight. Thank you so much, Justin Console Kits, for being here. Justin promised that he was going to act normal tonight.
That's right.
I don't believe him.
No, it's true. I'm no jokes, no sarcasm. Everything tonight is just normal.
He's already joking and being sarcastic.
Wow.
Game over.
Couldn't even keep your promise for 1 minute. Unreal.
Shenanigans.
Unreal.
So, Restalgia, you're saying Newfoundland is like Quebec, then they're not really part of Canada?
No, there's
depends on who you ask.
There's difference. Quebec doesn't want to be a part of Canada. Canada doesn't want us to be a part of it.
Newfoundland is like the ugly stepsister, and Quebec is like the sister who wants nothing to do with the family.
You're a hurtful person. Hurtful and intolerant.
I almost shot water out of my nose.
Anyways, guys, happy Memorial Day weekend for you guys stateside. Here in Canada, we had, I forget what it's called. No, it's not Remembrance Day. Jesus. We had the May 24th weekend last weekend. I don't know what it's actually called, but we had our long weekend last weekend. You guys get your long weekend this weekend. Good stuff for you guys. I got to go to work on Monday, but you guys enjoy the holiday. Restalgia, where you work for At Games, do you get Monday off? Do they follow the American holiday system, or?
Well, it's been like 2 years since I've worked with At Games, but
Sure.
No. My normal day job had this past Monday off, which was wonderful. Didn't have to go into the office,
So just a little bit of house cleaning tonight, guys. It's been too much negativity all over the place. Horrible stuff. Let's just have fun tonight. Focus on the positive. Be cool with everybody in the chat. Be your best self. And let's go from there. No negativity. If there's any negativity, you're going to have to spend an hour in a room alone with Restalgia, and you don't want to do that.
Wait,
I want to do that.
Are you joking? I turned my phone off for a week.
So
I have no clue what's been going on this whole week.
No. Good. That's probably the right thing to do. Just turn your phone off.
Is it really that bad?
It's pretty bad. Mike is mostly upset that his nudes were leaked, and everyone got to see them. Then he came out and he was like, "Fine, I'm just going to send you guys all my foot photos." And then the foot photos were just not things that people like. So he's a little bit upset about that.
Wait, is the negativity that you're not talking about have anything to do with why P-Dubs is like in a picture?
No, P-Dubs is just all tuckered out. Poor old P-Dubs. The truth of the matter is he's exhausted. Son was in a car accident this past week. He's had a lot of stuff going on. So unfortunately, this is the best we can do for offering you P-Dubs tonight.
Well, we could have done better, but this will do.
But 19K Fox was in a flight. He couldn't make it, so we couldn't.
No, I mean, we could have picked a different picture, but we had options. But Speaking of options,
Speaking of drama, here he comes.
That's
Pecan.
why I showed up. You said that there was gonna be no drama. I just needed to bring some shit stirring to be like, gotta stir the pot a little bit.
Pot
you know,
stirrer. There you
Pot
go.
store. A
Pot store? Pot store?
What up,
I
B?
know.
We got
What's
lots
up,
of those
everybody?
now in Canada.
Oh,
Lots
nice.
of pot stores.
Nice. Pottery
We
barn.
had lots of pot stores before. You can go to Walmart and buy a pot. You can go to Canadian Tire and buy a pot.
This is
They
true.
sell pots in pretty much every Home Depot store. Home
I have
Market.
a
Radio Shack
feeling
has
you and
lots
I
of
have.
pots, too.
I was going to say, yeah, I think you and I have a very different vocabulary.
Ooh, Captain Stoner, Captain Weed. Ooh, Restalgia. What a millennial. You wouldn't understand me, man. I'm too much of a burnout.
I think actually like the heavy pot smokers are coming more from like your generation. No?
What? No, man. We're not heat bags like you guys. If we smoke
I just-
pot, no one would know
it's
about
just-
it.
What is a
I did-
heat bag?
You don't know
I
what a heat bag is?
I've never actually heard that before right now. What is a
Never
heat
have.
bag? Tell me.
Does anybody else know what a heat bag is?
No.
You have some interesting language, like trounced and other
Wait,
things too. No,
maybe
never heard.
maybe Michael B's the one with the weird language.
I'm just saying.
No. So a heat bag, what a
Do
term
we
for a
want to
heat
know
bag was.
first before you begin?
Right.
Pardon?
Do we want to
Wait.
know?
Oh yeah, totally. It's not anything gross.
Is this where we get into the subject of the new iArcade game that was released? Is that what
heat
the
bag?
game is?
Is
It's
that
called
what it's
Heat Bag.
called? Heat bag. No, so what a heat bag was, when you were a kid, if you were out doing something you weren't supposed to do, like mostly it involved either drinking underage or doing like illicit drugs and shit. So you would go somewhere, and if someone was like acting weird or like acting very obvious that they were doing something, like either drunk or something like that, you would call them a heat bag because they were bringing heat on you and your altered state.
That's really dumb.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
You're dumb. You're all dumb. You're a bunch of heat bags.
Yeah, I guess
What-
we didn't get in trouble like you did, Michael B. So we didn't have to worry
Yeah,
about
that's true.
that.
Mike, is that like a local slang for you? Like, is that something like you grew up with, or is that like a term you thought was like everyone knew? I don't think anybody, even in the chat, knew what that is.
I think "Don't harsh my mellow" is the best translation I can come up with.
Don't harsh my mellow. I've never
Yeah.
heard that either.
Don't.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That being said, I've only seen Aladdin and Lion King, so if it's a reference outside of those two movies, then I just don't think I'd get it.
Did
Oh,
you see the new?
Heat bag was in Lion King.
Shut up.
He was.
Wait,
He's
you-
like,
no.
shut up, Mufasa. You're being a heat bag.
Okay.
Oh, that's fair. That's what Scar did say right before he pulled his arm away. That's fair.
There is an Urban Dictionary definition, so it is something out there. There's some
Is it-
credibility.
Is it in
telling you.
Merriam-Webster's, though?
It's a
What's
real
that?
word.
Is
Yeah,
it in
it-
Merriam-Webster's?
Like P-dubs could be potentially a heat bag, simply hiding the fact that he might be high or doing drugs. In that
Is this the
corner right
part
there.
where someone's supposed to take a deep breath and then read as many names in the chat as possible?
No, we're not going to do that tonight. No P-dubs means we don't have to do that. We don't need to do roll call.
Oh, Mike,
Bueller?
there's so many different definitions. Heat bag can also mean a person who attracts attention to someone who is stoned, not
Yes.
the group who is not stoned.
Yes. That's what I
Interesting.
was saying.
No, you were saying that they're attracting heat to you because they are stoned. This is the
We are
opposite.
both stoned. We were all stoned, but someone's
We
being
were?
an idiot and alerting people to the fact
This-
that we're stoned.
I
I
think
see,
this
I gotcha.
episode feels like we're stoned. Wait, is White Castle have something to do with this?
I don't know.
It might. Also, another definition of heat bag is a bag to carry a gun in.
Oh yeah, not that.
That is
That's
also a heat bag.
19K Fox probably has a heat bag.
That's a heat pack. Nostalgia.
I'm just going based off of urbandictionary.com. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't think we're here to just to talk about weird Newfoundland slang and different meanings. I told you it was a real word though. Suck it, Restalgia.
It's on Urban Thesaurus and Urban Dictionary. I don't know if that necessarily qualifies as a real word.
It's a real word. It's a real thing.
Just realized I just tuned into The Office with Michael Scott and Ryan, where Michael B is Michael Scott and Nostalgia is Ryan.
Oh no, I think this is more like the episode where Oscar disagrees with Michael, and then Michael's like, "No, it's true. I read it."
That's right.
We got to go out for coffee afterwards.
Right.
All right. Well, anyways, guys, let's move this along. This was a fun week in the gaming world, talking about some of the positive stuff. For the first time in 600 friggin' days, PlayStation actually held a showcase event. And there was a lot of news, a lot of information that came from it. For the first time in 600 days, PlayStation unloaded with their one first-party game they have coming. So, Restalgia, you want to tell us about that?
I don't, because I didn't watch it.
Oh, you piece of garbage.
Are we talking about the Metal Gear installment, the remake?
That's not a first-party game.
So what are we talking about then?
Hold on.
Help me out here, man. All I know about is their handheld.
We're going to talk about that too. Hold on. I've got it here. I'm just going to find it.
I don't even know anything about it. I just know that it's coming.
You know that it's coming.
It is.
All right. So I'm going to play it here on the screen for everybody. Get ready to rock and roll.
I think
Is it
Restalgia knows
Spider-Man?
a thing or two about
Yeah, okay,
handhelds.
Spider-Man. Got it. Yes, let's all watch in silence with no audio. Let's do that.
Is that Restalgia with his hair? It's like, oh, if Restalgia takes his hat off, then he
Restalgia
looks
wishes he looked that good.
just like that guy. He's got the emo hair.
No, Restalgia has too much hair. He can't do that. This
So
is
what are
is this Kraven the Hunter?
This is Kraven the Hunter.
Why'd they make him like that?
Why wouldn't they? Mike, have you seen this before?
There's Kraven the Hunter. Thank you. No, this is my first time actually watching it. I didn't watch PlayStation Showcase. I caught up on some of it today. I watched what I was excited about.
Mm-hmm. When was this? When did they announce this? Was yesterday?
Like 2 days ago.
2 days ago?
Yeah.
Graphics looks pretty stunning.
Mike, this is a 12-minute video. Are we just going to sit here and do this?
I just have it on in the background while we're talking. Are you not going to talk?
Oh, I haven't seen this, so I'm enthralled. I'm enthralled. So Kraven is here. What else did we get in this? There's also
you're going to see some symbiote Spider-Man
I was
going
going to
on
say
later.
that. Is
Yeah,
Venom's in this?
Whose chest is hairier though? Yours or that guy's?
I think Justin's actually.
Yeah, that may be true.
Yours is 60 point what?
60.39%.
More hairier?
That's just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a tad.
So who here has played the two previous Spider-Man games? They were excellent in my opinion. What do you guys think of them?
I played them both. I played the original one when it released on the PS4 almost immediately. And then I just recently, like in the last probably 3 or 4 months, beat Miles Morales. And I think I enjoyed the first one better than Miles, only because Miles really just felt like a slight extension, which is what it was supposed to be. But it just felt like just more of the same. So it was good. I'm looking forward to this one. I think this looks good. I've seen a bunch of the earlier trailers. And I'd actually argue that I think Spider-Man may have been one of the best games released on the PS4 at the time.
Totally agree with that. I was disappointed when I first started playing it because I was like, oh, I don't know if I like the play mechanics, but it ended up being just such a wonderful experience. And it came out at such a good time, too. I mean, we had Horizon, the first Horizon game. Then we had that new God of War, and then Spider-Man came out. It was like a golden era for the PlayStation. And here we are again in the PlayStation 5 doing it all again. We got Spider-Man 2. We just finished up with God of War Ragnarok. And right before that, Horizon Forbidden Dawn, was it?
Yep.
Forbidden West, sorry.
Forbidden West, yep.
Wow, some of the camera angles are like really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like super cinematic plus fighting. I'm about 60% way through Spider-Man, and I always kind of like do this where I get like 75% through a game, and I'm like, never finish it. That was pretty much this one. I did do the transition from, because you can port your PS4 data to PS5 and then play that version of the game with it. So I was like, oh, I'm going to now play it on my PS5, and then I stopped playing it. But I have Miles Morales.
Did you get bored or?
Yeah, I mean, because I was playing with my son, and so like there's certain missions and things that he really liked doing, and so it'd be like, oh, like here, you try this mission, and then I try to go back and like get a better score for it. So the replay value, just like swinging around, was like some of the best parts of just like this whole thing where you're just flying through the city.
Yeah.
Like this is just so much fun to just mess around and fly. So this portion of the game,
Yeah.
I would do this sometimes and not just play the game.
I like
And
I like going to
I'm
try to
the
find
same
the
way.
Easter eggs. Sorry,
Mhm.
Carl, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm the same way. I've been playing Miles Morales. Spider-Man has always been my favorite superhero. But it's so frustrating fighting with him because he's just a kid with these powers. But it's like the fighting is so frustrating because you can be beating up all these guys, and it's like it takes 10 hits for them to die, but they hit you 3 times and you're dead. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And so that really gets old real quick unless you can manipulate all the special moves and the environment into it. Is almost like you have no chance of winning with Spider-Man.
Oh, that's so cool. Could you do that in the first game? Like make your own web lines to do
No.
like a
Yeah,
that is a wicked add-on. That really
Well,
cool.
yeah, and earlier when he was like flying through the city without actually using any web, that's also that's got to be new, right? They didn't have the gliding suit in Miles Morales, did they?
So I'm gonna read this super chat really quick, and then Restalgia, I gotta ask you a question.
He just Hadoukened him.
So really quickly, $4.99 super chat from Console Fanboy. Let's have a positive show, guys. I completely agree. Anyways, so I hear iiRcade is out of business now. I think Biggie D said it, so it must be true. We'll talk about iiRcade later on. I think it's really unfortunate, the news that they dropped today, because anybody that wants to spread a narrative that they're in trouble, I mean, from the outside, it doesn't look good, but I think it's much to do about nothing. This stuff happens all the time. I've been in the situation in business where same thing happened, but we'll talk about it later. And thank you very much for the super chat, Zohar. So really quick question, Restalgia. When you were playing the original Spider-Man and looking at this now, do you think this game ever would have existed and been as good as it was without Batman Arkham Asylum? Because, I mean, this is basically Spider-Man in that environment.
Oh, that's interesting. I'd never really considered that. I don't want to say I don't think it would have existed, but I think that the Arkham series in general laid the groundworks that you could develop a game in this format and it could be really accepted and a widespread success. So yeah, I don't think it was necessarily it couldn't have existed. I just think it helped with the progression. That being said, I played what was that game? Gotham Knights.
Yeah,
and I did not enjoy it. I didn't enjoy that one.
It's not as good. I mean, it's made by a different development team. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was made. Was it made by Rocksteady? But it was made by a different Rocksteady, the same people that made that Batman Arkham Origins game.
I liked Arkham Origins. You didn't like
I liked Arkham Origins too. I didn't have as much of a problem with it as everybody else did. But what I'm saying is, Gotham Knights is it's either from the same developer or a new team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, but no, this game is just kick-ass. And this new version looks good too.
Why are there multiple Spider-Mans? Is one of those Miles?
One of them is Miles, and the other one's Peter Parker.
Okay.
Yeah, you're getting both Spider-Men, and then you're also going to be getting Venom in this as well.
So this was like the confusing part of the trailer, because some people thought like, oh, you can do co-op play, right? There's 2 players, but I think there was a tweet that was like solidified that said, nope, massive single player only. But that would have been a cool feature to actually have some sort of co-op mode in this.
That actually would be really sick if they come out with like a Spider-Man 3 that is like couch co-op. That'd be so awesome.
Did you guys ever play like the Infinity game, like Disney Infinity figures?
Oh no, I didn't play that. I had better things to do.
Come on, man. Yeah. But like they had a city like this that you can play the Marvel superheroes, but it was like co-op and you could do fun stuff like this.
I don't know how you would do co-op with this, because this isn't exactly it isn't exactly sandbox. Like there's certain elements that are very cinematic, choreographed to a specific way. So how do you do 2 different perspectives or point of views?
Split screen.
It's like Sonic 2 all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you could have like different elements where a mission could like require some stealth portions to it. Like, yeah, I think there could be an option to do it alone, but it could be a different type of thing. So It
What-
would be a new element, especially with like having the two Spider-Man on the screen. I think this was a good opportunity to have done something like that.
What if
But
they
you
let
could-
you add a link cable, but you had to get like a dongle and then like an outside router?
Does it
pretty
have to be
awesome.
connected online though?
Yeah.
And the dongle's sold separately. So
Yeah.
no, they could do like the cinematic scenes where they're both on screen and each
Mhm.
player has their own individual prompts. And if one of the players didn't do the prompt correctly, then they both fail and they have to redo that cut screen.
It's a feature. It's just not on the box and it's not in the instructions. but
Yeah,
you
they
have-
won't. They'll promote it, but they won't actually like put it in writing on the box or on the game package or anything.
Yeah, I really like this. I'm super excited to play Spider-Man. I've got to say, like, I've really gotten back into modern gaming in the last couple of months. And man, we are eating good with the modern games. There's so many good games out right now, coming out, just like massive experiences that are going to take, 30, 40, 50 hours to play. Like, it's awesome. And like, just so many good games. There's shit games too, but so many good games.
Mm-hmm. The last 2 months have been pretty intense with some of the modern games.
Yeah.
Not
I wonder
enough
if
time.
there was a lot of developers during COVID. There was a lot of publishers that weren't able to like get their stuff out. Are we now at the point where it's just like everything that's been backed up for a long time is kind of coming out at once? Maybe.
Well, I think that's a good point. I think that with COVID there was a lot of a slowdown, a lot of bottlenecks happening,
Mhm.
and then there was also chip shortages, which prevented a huge outflux of those consoles coming out. And I
Mhm.
think alongside with all the games, now we're seeing like you can buy a PS5 in almost any retail store at this point.
That's
They're no
right.
longer a shortage. So I think we're just like getting into the prime of these next gen consoles. They've been out for now 2 years?
Mhm.
It's interesting that you say the prime, because I think a lot of people forget that when these next gen consoles first came out, there were like no games for them, and they were
Right.
open saying it's going to take like a year and a half, 2 years in order to make the games. So even though we're at the prime, really we're only at the beginning according to them.
I would agree with that. And that's that's the same with every single new gen console, right? Like
This has been worse than the other gens.
Yeah. I mean, we did have a pandemic that we were dealing with, but
Yeah,
I mean,
but at that
generally
level,
speaking,
the graphical differences though, like are for me, it's even hard to tell between PS4 and PS5. Like, do you see like a huge jump?
it depends on what kind of TV you're using, I think. So if
Yeah.
you're just using, if you're
More
taking your
hardware?
PS4, if you're
Mhm.
taking your PS4, the TV you're using for that, and plugging a PS5 into it, there's going to be some improvements, but you're really going to see a difference with PS5 versus PS4 if you buy like the
OLED.
UHD TVs
UHD.
that have
Mhm.
120 hertz and all of the other bells and whistles that the console can actually take advantage of to really give you the best output.
Yeah, we actually told the story last week how when I first got my PlayStation 3, I hooked it up through the RCA cables to a CRT TV, and I was like, I don't see what the big deal is.
Right.
Yeah, it looks good.
Stringer Films, $2 super chat. You played the new game Writer Strike. Very boring.
Yeah, it makes me wonder about Stringer Films.
Thank you very much, brother.
I'm sorry, I'm lost for a second because I'm like, what does that mean? His life is boring because he's a camera guy, right?
Yeah.
And without writers, he has less to record. Is that what he's talking about?
I think just it's going to be boring overall. I don't know if the Hollywood writer's strike plays into also like the video game world, because there's also obviously scripts for these video games and stories. So will the writer's strike impact the video game world? I know like WWE came out and said the Hollywood writer's strike, even though their writers are technically they took them from Hollywood, wouldn't impact them because WWE's really weird run machine where no one's really an employee and they're all independent contractors. So I'm sure they're not going to let them strike. But the Hollywood writer's strike is going to shut down movies. And Justin, I'm surprised you're not all over this, because one of the big reasons they're on strike isn't even about the money. It's protection from AI for their jobs. That's one of the concerns they have, and one of the reasons they're on strike.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, on AI, that I'm at the point where it's like worthless now. So I liked it, I was in it, and then I'm like, it's not actually that smart. So I don't know. That's where I'm at with that.
I'm very underwhelmed with AI because I was to the understanding that AI could take celebrities that I've never seen nude and then make them nude for me. But so far, it has been a total failure. AI sucks.
No, deepfakes have gotten really good though. So I mean, not that I've experienced any of those things in the past, but the AI strike thing what you're saying is definitely relevant. I've actually heard somebody who was in the industry that was like a writer speak about this is the time if you don't solidify those kind of deals in the union that in the future you could trade AI with more data to be like, oh, you really like that season of whatever show you liked, write another 13 episodes in the style of Friends, and then it could spit out something that will look very similar to it. So it's like it's that training that gets potentially scarier for these writers. So I kind of get it.
Yeah, it makes sense. The key, though, I think, is at the end of the day, it is just plagiarism.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if you go to ChatGPT and you ask it to write something for you, it stole it from the internet somewhere and kind of understands what it's doing and kind of makes it unique, but more and more, like I can't use it. It's wrong. It's often very wrong. It's just really good at convincing you that it's right at first. Remember when Wikipedia came out and everyone started becoming like geniuses, and then they realized, oh, Wikipedia is not always right? That's what I think ChatGPT is at this point, where it's like it is really good, except for it's really good at fooling you that it's right. But when you dig deep, you realize it has no clue what it's talking about. It's just convincing you that it's right.
Well, in the right circumstances, obviously it could work.
Sure.
But like anything, nothing's perfect. If it's man-made, it's imperfect by nature. But I think it's interesting that the industries are playing with it. Every industry is playing with AI. And again, it's not going to replace things. I mean, completely everything, but it's obviously going to have some niche areas where it'll work. But I'm intrigued by AI. I've always have been intrigued. But again, it's never been perfect. It never will be. It's always going to have some human elements to correct and modify it and manipulate it. But I think it has a purpose, and we'll see where it goes for sure.
I feel like everybody just forgot to watch Terminator 2. They just didn't watch it. And they're like, AI is cool. Nothing bad could happen.
Well, going back to the writers, for me, like as a software developer, I'm trying to use AI to better my output. And I think that's what the writers need to do. It should be less about, oh, directors are not going to need writers. They're just going to talk directly to AI. It's the writers should talk to AI and help them like edit their stuff and just kind of so we just get more content. That's it. Right. So the throughput of the amount of content that we get could increase because I think the consumption is there.
But then AI files a copyright against the writer that was using them, and then they're like, nah, dude, that was me. That wasn't the dude.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, plagiarism side of it's probably there for sure.
Well, it's actually not only is it plagiarism that, like, let's say you're using ChatGPT, but it actually goes the other way around too. There was I read an article that came out where some university students actually got stopped from graduating because the professor took their essay, put like a few paragraphs into ChatGPT and said, "Did you write it?" And ChatGPT took, it said, "Yes, I did." It took credit for what they wrote, and it didn't.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
Wow.
so you can actually like take text, put it into ChatGPT, and sometimes it will say that it wrote it even when it didn't. So it's actually becoming really dangerous on the other side too, where like now as a student you can get in as an employee or whatever, you can run into problems that way. So
and I think that another danger with it is like who owns it, and if they do create something that's unique and you're taking credit for it, they say, well, you didn't do it, we did it, right? And so we get royalties because we produced this script or whatever. I mean, that's an interesting way that it could turn as well. So who's going to know what's going to happen? But I'm sure there's going to be some lawsuits. I'm sure there's going to be some issues as it develops, and obviously the fight for who owns it.
Well,
Oh,
and to be
so
fair,
guys, update.
Oh.
We've got a $2 super chat from Stringer Films. Apparently, it was a joke about a game where you do nothing. See, you
Got it.
went the wrong way with
Got
us
it.
talking about Writer's Strike. Like, if you said Restalgia's sex life, we would have been like, oh,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
That's right.
It makes sense. Now, getting back to AI,
Thank you for
there's
super
one
chat, Stringer
thing.
Films.
There's one thing that it will never be able to do, and make graphics as good as this.
Wow.
That'll never happen through AI. So
You insensitive prick. Daisy needed her milking done. She was in pain.
I
And I
get
was
it.
being a good sport.
I get it, but why'd you have to make that face, Mike? Look at this
What?
face.
Have you
What
ever
is up
milked
with
a
that?
cow? That's how it feels when the milk first comes out.
Was it exciting, or was it shocking, or a little bit of both?
It was as exciting as a mid-roll ad during a live stream. That's how excited I get. I make the same face when those go up.
That's probably happening right now. To
Except you
our
don't see
viewers.
it, right?
I heard the mid rolls are happening only when Restalgia is talking. It's because the algorithm is like, this is a good time.
Yeah.
Let me insert it here.
Nothing important's happening.
No.
That's fair.
All right, guys. So let's keep this AI conversation going. I guess not really. Let's move on to the next topic, actually, because this is crazy, and we're letting Restalgia run away with the show here at this point, and no one wants that. So, anyways, I'm going to bring this up here now for you guys. This is one 19K Fox was very excited about.
Konami. Oh, that audio, Mike. You got to kill that audio.
There you go. Fixed.
Fine, up
Fixed.
until-
Oh, this is so disappointing.
I know it's well, it's not disappointing. I'm actually pretty excited about it. I think it looks.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids 5.
Yes.
what was that stupid Xbox game that you played in the yard and there was like all the bugs?
It's
It was grounded or
Auntie.
something?
Auntie.
Auntie.
It's
I used to
Pikmin,
love-
Pikmin 4.
Ant Sim was so much fun back in the day.
Ant Sim, I
I forgot
remember
about
that
that.
actually. I think
Yeah,
I
I
played
forgot
that on the
about that.
PS1.
Yeah, black ants versus red ants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me know if you remember Ant Sim.
Oh. So this is interesting because this is the third installment. This came out on GameCube, if I recall correctly.
That is incorrect. You
When
were
did
incorrect.
what did it come out on?
PlayStation 2
Wasn't this
and
wasn't
Xbox.
this- what is this called? Snake Eater?
Yes, Nostalgia. Please
That's
stop
right.
saying that. I'm trying to be good tonight.
No, I'm surprised that they didn't do like reboot the series with the first installment.
See,
Like the
that's why you're thinking GameCube, because they've already done a remake of the original Metal Gear Solid, the Twin Snakes on GameCube. So there was a sort of remastered original Metal Gear Solid from the PS1 on GameCube. So you were partially right.
Okay.
Restalgia is often partially right.
60.39% of the time I'm partially right.
Well,
I'm
people
usually
love-
60.39% correct.
people
so-
love Snake Eater. I'm a big fan of. I know I'm gonna get shit for this, but I love Sons of Liberty, Metal Gear Solid 2. But everybody hates it because Snake is only in the intro to the game, and then you play as Raiden the rest of the game, and everybody was pissed about that. But this one, you play as Big Boss. Oops, spoiled it. You play as Snake the whole game. Anyways,
Okay.
the shitty thing about that is in that video there is in fact no actual gameplay. It just shows like the cinematics. That's becoming more the norm when they announce these games now. You actually don't see gameplay. You just see these movies that may never ever actually make the game. But what do you think of the idea of Metal Gear Solid 3 coming back out? There's some great screenshots out there showing the differences from the levels and stuff like that. The game looks like it's going to be an absolute blast, and it was a masterpiece. There's no denying that.
Yeah.
Nobody
that's
wants to
great.
comment on it? Yeah. Okay. Well,
I've never played it, so
What?
can't say.
Have you
Yeah.
played any of the Metal Gears?
I played the first one, very first one, PS1. That was like
Mhm.
as far as I got into the series, but didn't get into the other ones. I liked it though. It's very different.
yeah, I played the first, the second. I skipped the third. I went straight into the fourth. I thought the fourth was fantastic, and then
Oh, yeah,
I
I
haven't
love
played
the
any of
fourth.
the other ones. I haven't
Yeah.
played any of the other ones. So I may have to play this one. This will be maybe my first playthrough on the third.
Can I ask, why did they pick that one to do the remake out of all the other ones then? Like, because some of them, like original, I feel like is always a great place to do a remake, but why 3?
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
That's what he just said, but they've already done a remake. It's like Resident Evil. Why didn't they start with Resident Evil 1? They already did a remaster of Resident Evil 1 on the GameCube. So you know what the funny thing is?
I see.
They already did a remaster of the first Metal Gear Solid. Well, not the first Metal Gear Solid, but the first modern day Metal Gear Solid. And not even modern day anymore. That was like 30 years ago. Jeez.
Yeah.
So the PlayStation 1
version. Yeah.
It was on GameCube. Is that
yeah,
you're saying?
They did the remake on GameCube, just like Resident Evil. So, and they're not going to do Metal Gear Solid 2 because the fans actually hated Metal Gear Solid 2 because you don't play as Snake in the game.
Go ahead.
And arguably, the third one's the best.
Arguably.
Really?
They have like 10 of them. Like a lot.
Would you say that?
I would
You're
say
saying out of like 1, 2, and 3, the third's the best, or out of the entire franchise?
I don't know. I'm saying if you did a poll, like say for example, I went to the live audience now and did a poll of what's the best Metal Gear Solid game, more than likely 3 would win. And you know how we can test that?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do a poll.
Because I think out of
add one that says you never played the series.
No.
And while
it's got to be 1, 2, 3, and 4.
While he's putting that poll up there, I just want to go back to the original.
Yeah.
I mean, that was.
I love how they're falling out of the plane at the same speed as when they're falling with their parachutes. It's so realistic.
Right. I mean, I remember when this game came out, and you know, I fell in love with Metal Gear, and this one of the games I've almost owned every copy, and I must say I haven't finished many of them because I just give up on them. But I've always been intrigued with Metal Gear, and it started with this guy here. I played hours and hours of this on the NES.
Did you ever play Snake's Revenge?
I did play Snake's Revenge.
What was that on? That was on PSP?
No, Snake's Revenge was also a Nintendo game. Made by Ultra, a.k.a. Konami's sneaky second company, so they could put more games on the NES.
Yeah, but look at the influence on Metal Gear Solid. Like even when we're just watching Spider-Man, there's so many like espionage elements in Spider-Man that like kind of started with these games. So
yeah,
cool.
Really quickly, we had a super chat way back. I just want to catch us down, make sure we get it right. Retrocade, $6.99 Canadian, one good AI development. It found a drug to treat a bacteria superbug. Like all tools, only as good as the user. Great comment, writes Retrocade, and thank you very much for the super chat, brother.
It's a good point. The pandemic, perhaps, it depends on your view. I'm not saying one way or another, but AI played a big part in the development of the vaccine, right? It's trial and error, essentially. But here's the key with that. Why did that work? What did it do? It sped up the process, which is the same thing AI can do for you. AI can make you faster, but it requires the person to still do the work.
How would it make me faster? Like, would it give me metal legs?
Just like RoboCop.
Ooh, well, you know, poor RoboCop. Like the guy literally dies. They still make him go to work.
Yeah, it's a sad movie, really. When you think
$2
about
super chat here from Stringer Films. Nostalgia's bedroom bonus stage is only fun part. You've never been in a bedroom with Nostalgia. That is not fun.
It's fun for me.
I'm really hoping in a week or two we find out if we all get an opportunity to
share
be in a
bedroom
bedroom
with
me. Yeah. Is it happening or not, man?
We'll find out soon. Find out on next week's episode of the Super Game Room Dudes.
Season 3 premiere.
Yeah, right.
Are we out of season 1? Like, I don't understand when Dub says season finale and stuff like that. What's he talking about?
Yeah, we don't take a break or anything. We just literally, and then we lie because it'll be like, oh, it's next week. No, we're not going to do it next week. We're going to do it the week after. No, not next week.
You know what the Super Game Room Dudes theme is? Our special saying? SSDD. Same shit, different day. every single show. The same shit, different day.
I really got fooled the first time you guys said that there was a season finale. I was like, "Here's $20 super chat. You guys have really changed Friday night." And I was like, "What the? You guys are back the next week." Fooled me once.
They got renewed.
They got renewed.
And that's the real reason P-Dubs isn't here, is because he's on a writer's strike.
That makes sense.
Makes all sense. Get him an AI to help write season 3.
Go.
Hey, Mr. Fourth Place is here. $5 super chat. Hey, I finally get to catch one of these live and do a super chat. In Indy for the 500 and missing my arcade. Thank you very much, Mr. Fourth Place. Enjoy the Indianapolis 500.
Hold on. Clarification. Is he missing his home arcade, or is he missing my arcade?
Like my arcade? I'm sure he could have brought it in his suitcase.
He's like, where is it? Where's my arcade?
Yeah, I do get that. Like when my arcade was like fully built and stuff like that, I would, miss it, if that makes sense. Like
did you miss it when you were hanging out with Restalgia?
I didn't really have time to miss it because I was too busy pranking his ass, telling him I didn't know what booster juice was.
That didn't happen. What are you talking about?
Oh, that totally happened. I've got proof. I've got a tool on speed dial. He'll tell everybody.
He took it so seriously too. Yeah, you did good with that one. Well done, Mike. How are we supposed to know the little island boy has booster juice? How are we going to know that?
We went to the mall and we were up drinking all night, so I was pretty dehydrated. And I was like, I wish there was a place to get like some kind of tasty, like fruity beverage. Do you guys have a place like that here? And Restalgia's like, oh man, we got this place called Booster Juice. And I was like, Booster Juice? What's that?
You son of a bitch. Here I was thinking I was going to be experiencing Mike's first booster juice with him.
Tell him what happened.
Yeah, so we find this little booster juice. I think was it a kiosk? I can't remember. Either way.
Yeah.
We go to the booster juice, and I'm looking at the menu, and we're both, Atul and I are like, you can pick whatever you want. They've got all these boosters. You can kind of mix and match whatever you want to do. And Mike just walks straight up to the register. I was like, dude, don't you want to like, and he just like spits out an order perfectly. Like he's been there a million times. And I was like, you son of a bitch. And then Tool's like, how did you know? And I was like, come on, man. Like, what is going on?
That's great.
You mentioned the Indy 500 Detroit next week, June 2nd through the 4th. We actually have the Grand Prix.
Nice.
They're converting the whole like downtown area into this racetrack, and they used to do it years ago, and then they moved it to Belle Isle, which is an island, so it was kind of separated from the city, which some people like and some people didn't because it's so disruptive to the downtown area. But they're transforming parts of a lot of the streets for these guys to race down, so it's going to be pretty fun. Tickets are ridiculous, but there's some opportunities to watch it for free. But that's pretty cool to see that. From my office, I can see it all, most of the track. So it's pretty cool.
There was a comment by JT Brunick. You might want to catch him.
Off topic, I was able to take advantage of the Arcade1Up deal from customer service and get Star Wars for $2.99 shipped from the KI cancellation fiasco. That's a great deal. It's good that they actually came up with like a plan B. Plan B is something that Restalgia unfortunately didn't know about.
Neither did my mom.
No. But I'm glad they were able to come up with something to offer fans that missed out on the Killer Instinct deal. At least they could do something. I don't think they're making that public. They didn't make any posts about it, but a lot of fans have come through and posted that. I had one person write me last week. I think this is before they made those extra stock TMNT and Star Wars available. It was originally just Yoga Flame and then 2 Street Fighters, I think, were the options. 2 of the last year's legacies. But, cool that they're doing stuff for people.
Yeah. Wait, what's the KI fiasco?
Yeah, let's talk about that. What happened with KI? What is KI anyways?
Killer Instinct. So
I thought it was like a booster juice thing that you were referring to.
No, we'll talk about that when we get into Arcade1Up in a bit, because that was part of Arcade1UpDate. Anyways, let's finish up this PlayStation experience or whatever the hell it is. We've already been going 46 minutes and we're not through one topic. Maybe we do need P-dubs. Hold on, guys. Let me bring this up. Let's see if I can find this stupid thing here now. And Wi-Fi, this is the dumbest thing in the entire world. Anybody who's excited about this, like, you need to find more things to be excited about because it is dumb. So PlayStation announced something they think is really cool. I'm just going to play this for
a 2023 Ford Bronco Sport. Yeah.
So at the end of the event, they announced the Project Q. So it's basically their answer to the Steam Deck, their answer to the Switch. And, they're trying to be incredibly innovative. He did this speech on how they wanted to be forward-thinking, future-thinking. And then they announced the Wii U gamepad.
Is it going to allow me to play retro games?
If there's retro games on your PlayStation 5, because the only way it works is it streams from your PlayStation 5. So if you guys remember going all the way back to the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 with your PS Vita, you used to be able to stream games directly to that through your PlayStation 3 and 4. This essentially is going to be doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, you're going to be streaming your games that you own from your PS5 over to it. But
That's right.
My guess is you don't necessarily. I think with the Vita, you had to be on the same network. Like you had to be at home when you were doing it. Is that the case? Is that right? I don't remember if they did it remotely.
Yeah, there was remote play, but I can't remember how far you could go away.
Yeah, so this will work. What it appears is that this will work anywhere where you have a network connection. But I'm not excited about this at all. Like, It's essentially just, it's not going to be super powerful because it's going to be primarily a streaming handheld. And streaming handhelds, generally speaking, have not done particularly well. So it's just like a weird release. I would have much rather them given us like a Steam Deck alternative that could play downscaled PS5 games with internal storage that you could download from the PlayStation Store and actually take and play portably. Like that would have been better. But this is kind of one of those things where it's like maybe they'll sell some, but this is going to be a dead in the water product for my.
I think it's going to be a bomb too. I don't see much hope for this.
I don't know. The MG's point of it's a private cloud streaming device. It is a pretty interesting one, but then it also reminds me of like Plex, right? So it's like you can watch movies that you have at your home from your phone afar, and so instead of them doing maybe like doubling down on cloud streaming games, they're like, no, you just do that to your own PS5, and then we don't have to deal with partnering with cable companies, because I think a lot of those like Netflix, they have like appliances like inside all of the like cable head ends to be able to get like the traffic reduced. But if it's just like to your own server from another device, it's like they have nothing to do with it. It's all you. It's your network.
Gallagher Guy 88 says, I read you have to be on the same Wi-Fi as your PS5 in order for it to work.
Well, then there's that.
I don't think that they've announced that though. That's just speculation.
That's not 100% accurate. You can also buy dongles, and then you can connect them through your router with a link cable.
Yeah, so if you want to play with an Ethernet cable, you can do that.
I don't understand this. Like, if it is only through, you have to be on the same Wi-Fi. Like, this is the stupidest thing in the world. Like, I don't break out my Steam Deck while I'm sitting on the couch with the other consoles there. I have my Steam Deck in other rooms where I don't have consoles and shit like that. So, like, I can't see the benefit of this. Like, if my wife is watching Grey's Anatomy, but I want to play something that's on my PlayStation 5, I could play it on this instead. Is that the idea?
I think they're trying to give you like kind of the whole Nintendo Switch thing where like you've got it on your home console, but if somebody else is using the TV, you just grab your whatever this is called, the PlayStation Q handheld, and you can go sit on your couch and then stream it from your PlayStation to your handheld.
No, that's not. That's not how it works, because I come in the room and my wife is watching TV. I'm like, you get off that TV. Dick runs this house. And
Yeah.
then I find myself sleeping at my parents for about a week, and then we make up and things are better. But
Yeah, and then you
And
can't
you-
even
and you
play it at
can't
all
play
because
it.
you're not on the
Right.
same network as your PS5.
Yeah,
Make
so
it
my
back
my
so cold.
daughter, she'll be playing Xbox in the living room, right? And then we'll go in and we're like, we're gonna watch a movie, and she's like, no big deal. She grabs her iPad and starts streaming the Xbox to her iPad.
oh, that's funny.
And then she's got like the Xbox controller and she's just looking down at her iPad. And every game that she plays, like the lag doesn't matter. You know, it's not like, I don't know.
Very quickly, Dr. Freeman asked a question, no Evercade talk. I don't know if there's much Evercade news to talk about. I know they have a release coming out next week. I'm sure we'll talk about it next week. But is there anything going on with the Evercade that you know of right now, Restalgia?
Off the top of my head, I don't think so. I know that but like you said, they're doing some sort of announcement at the end of the month.
Yeah, they've got their own event, kind of like they're going to have their just a big show next week. But there's no news now except for the fact that they're having a show next week. So that's the Evercade news. Game reveal show next week.
Now let's get back to what everyone wants to talk about: PlayStation.
Yeah, this needs a PS5 to function. There is a benefit of this, though, that a lot of people don't realize. Like, one of the things, why would the CEO of Act Games know? That's a good point. So, the one good thing is you don't have to double buy games. So, I mean, you can just play them directly off your console. And what I mean by that is if you have a disc-only game for your PlayStation 5, you can still stream that to your handheld. You don't need the digital version. So that is a benefit of this device.
And while the 8 inches is obviously a nice size, but that just seems like it's going to be such a big device to be holding.
It's it's not that much different than your Nintendo Switch screen. The
I
OLED
think
isn't the OLED like 7.8 inches or something like that?
Yeah. So, Restalgia, are you worried about getting this device where it's 8 inches? Will that make you feel self-conscious?
It will. It's about, and we're not going to go into percentages, but I wish it were slightly smaller.
All right. Well, anyways, guys, that was the PlayStation Now event. I mean, I'm sure there was more stuff, but those seem to be the big highlight items. Like, we're all excited for Spider-Man 2, Metal Gear Solid 3. I haven't heard Fox stop talking about it since it came out. He's very excited. He bought like 15 new guns to celebrate. So, that's going to be fun. And of course, the PlayStation Q seems really stupid. So let's go from there. All right.
I think I finally understand why Restalgia likes quarter scale arcades.
Why is that? Oh, because his is quarter scale. He doesn't like quarter scale arcades. He likes 1/6 scale.
I'm much more comfortable with 1/6 scale.
Got it.
Because when his wife plays it and feels small things all day, when he finally gets to feel something else, it's huge.
Have you seen those tiny little joysticks they have on there? It just feels comfortable. I'm just saying, it feels familiar. That's all.
I feel at home.
It's just familiar. That's all.
All right, guys. So
okay, on to the big news, Mike. On to the big news.
What's the big news?
I don't know. You have to figure that out and put it on, because we're on to the big news. Take it away, Mike.
I don't have any big news. Anyways, guys, so this past week, shit, Restalgia, why do you talk about stuff? Shit, I screwed up. Anyways, guys, so you may be familiar with this. Arcade1UpDate was live just yesterday, and they had Eugene Jarvis on the show, and Eugene was there to talk about Robotron, right? No, he was there to talk about the Fast and the Furious. And Travis kind of led him through the conversation, but he gave justification for why, Fast and the Furious is what it is on Arcade1Up. And as far as I could suss out from it, it's because realistically, Arcade1Up's hardware is just not powerful enough to run the games. He mentioned that, even most modern computers aren't powerful enough to run the games. So they did a port, which is pretty much all what we thought in the first place, wasn't it?
Hold on. Did I just hear you correctly? He just said most modern computers are not powerful enough to run Fast and the Furious?
That's what he said.
And people believed that?
Well, B had it running on his emulator.
it is tough to like emulate correctly, even with a modern PC. So I don't know if that's due to
Not
the
if you're the
PC or if it's
freaking
just
developer of the game.
you're correct, but it's different assets though. But yeah, from an emulation standpoint, like it didn't, because he did mention two things. Like there's a way where emulation uses like whatever hardware you have, and then you're running it the original code through that, and so there's like less optimization. So his kind of thing was like a port, you could optimize it for whatever the hardware was. So that was the explanation of one of the reasons why they went that way.
Understood. Shenanigans. Understood.
Shenanigans. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we all knew why Eugene was there, and apparently he was supposed to be part of the original That One Up show. He was supposed to be interviewed for that, but where they had the time change, where the show was going to be later in the day, and then Best Buy changed their release time, they ended up doing the show first thing in the morning, and whatever it was, Eugene ended up getting cut. So this is the backup from that. I think it would have been really, really beneficial for him to do this interview right up front and give people this insight, as opposed to later on. Now, at the same time, most people who bought the cab, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about any of us, what we're saying about it being a port. They don't give a shit about what it's saying chopped. They're just having fun with it. But, they did provide an explanation for why it is what it is.
What do you think he is right now that he needs that virtual background?
I think he's AI. Look, half his head is missing.
I know.
On the Arby's Wi-Fi.
It is interesting. I wish,
Uh-huh.
multiverse in another universe type of scenario, he did make it to the show. What did he say? Did he say, yeah, so my team, they did a fantastic job. We ported it over. So let me take you through that process. So what we decided to do was just base the entire port off of Drift. That is the latest version of our source code. It didn't really make sense to put all that time and effort in doing it twice. When you think about it, the source code for Drift is an extension of the original game. So that kind of made sense to us. So you'll notice there's some things on both games. Universal really wanted 2 games. So we gave them 2 games. And, to do that, we just split the tracks. So we did the port once, and technically it's 1 game, but there's a configuration file that says when you launch this game, it enables these tracks and it enables that. We weren't able to get all the cars, but that's because we don't have licenses for all the cars.
That was
And
the
we
other
have
thing.
this policy that we can't create new cars, and then we'll get in trouble if we modify the existing ones, but we did what we could.
They had 1 license from the original game lineup of cars. So that was another factor of.
Well, I thought that was bullshit. You're telling me you can't put a Toyota Tercel with underlighting in there?
They don't have Toyota at all.
$2 super chat from Stringer Films. He says the reason everything was blurred out in the background is lazy guy couldn't even clean up his living room.
Yeah.
Get the hall pass.
Yeah.
Thanks for the super chat, Stringer.
That's the reason why blur zooms on mine.
Is that a stock background? Like,
Yeah, so I use it because I don't want them to see all the dead hookers in the background of mine.
You know what's funny about that is they stream using StreamYard. This isn't Zoom. So he had to
his own
Eugene Jarvis had to go into StreamYard and say, I want to blur my background and I want that background.
Yeah, see, you're missing out. You know the movie The
green
Lawnmower Man? That was made about Eugene Jarvis. He's in the internet.
Or
Job.
Eugene Jarvis is using OBS as his virtual cam, and it's any call he goes to, he has this background.
UAG was probably my favorite comment I've ever seen in my entire life. Do you think it was a strategy for them to cut out half Eugene's head so we would be so distracted by that we wouldn't understand anything that's going on with the game?
I'm gonna use that at work.
Oh, that is a stock StreamYard background. Okay, yeah. It's a
Yeah.
StreamYard virtual background. Got it.
Oh, I just thought he was rich.
I was like, that's the Raw Thrills office right there.
So anyways, Eugene is an absolute legend. He came on, he gave his justification. Take it for what it is. I said in my video I put out earlier today, most people who are unhappy with this are going to say this is damage control, and it might well be. But I'm going to take the man at his word, and it doesn't really matter to me. I'm not buying the cab because it's not available in Canada. So That's all I'll say
if
on
it
that.
were available in Canada, would you buy it?
No, I don't want Fast and the Furious. I not that there's anything wrong with the game. Everybody seems to be having a blast with it. It looks like it's fun. It's just I've already told the story several times. I went on a really bad date to the first Fast and the Furious movie. I did not like the girl. She was really excited about getting underlighting for her Toyota Tercel, and I never ever watched another one of the movies.
Underglow is so underrated. It's so awesome.
If it's done well, it's bomb.
Boom.
So
it does make you go faster. Go ahead.
It does. Yep.
Sure. Eugene did mention a little later on in the interview. I think Travis set this up just to make me excited because he knew I made my video. Talked about Robotron, and I got really excited because he did say Robotron. What Travis asked him directly was, "What game would you like to work on to bring to Arcade1Up?" And Eugene was like, "Oh man, Robotron." And I was like, "Oh my god, it's happening! It's happening!" Then he started talking about all this craziness about this 10-player version. I kind of lost him there. I was like, he's not talking about Arcade1Up anymore. I think he's talking about like a modern arcade version of Robotron that you'd see in like one of those redemption arcade places. I was a little thrown off by that. And then someone else had said something about like, oh, they're going to make a updated modern version of Robotron. I don't want that shit. Give us the original arcade game. Like, if this is honestly,
Smash TV is better though. So
hear me out. Hear me out. He's look. Well, imagine he spends a year marketing the Robotron to all the redemption places, right? So then they got the 4-player Pac-Man. They got the Space Invaders. They got the Galaga, right? And then all of a sudden there's Robotron. And Robotron. People are like, oh, I know that Robotron. I play it at the arcade, you know? A couple of years goes by. Boom, Arcade1Up has justification to a Robotron. Because
then people play it and realize it sucks.
You have no taste, like, at all.
I'm just saying, Robotron versus Smash TV, and Smash TV wins every time.
That's if you're comparing those two games. But if you compare Robotron to like many other 80s games,
like
there,
Atari ET on Atari, then yeah, it might.
Why? Explain to me why Smash TV is better.
Everything.
Why do you think it is?
The mechanics are slightly better. Mechanics feel slightly better.
Nope.
My perspective, they do. It's more visually impressive. It looks nicer.
Oh, there it is. You little graphic whore. That's all you can think about. Oh, the graphics are better. I'm Restalgia. It looks prettier.
Yes, I never.
The
Really
gameplay is almost identical, man. The mechanics.
I
only play Robotron, so I never play Smash TV, so I don't get that. But I'm definitely looking to play Robotron on the Arcade1Up.
Michael B, why don't you do a video, Smash TV versus Robotron, and show this fool?
It's interesting. I'd never played Smash TV or Robotron until Mike made this big deal about it. And then I went and played both of them one after another. And I was like, what the fuck is Mike talking about? Smash TV is better. Objectively, from someone who'd never played either one, Smash TV's better.
I don't know. I think they're different games. Look, okay, yes, you got a dual stick, right? But you're in a single room in Robotron, and it's like you beat the room and then you flash into the next room, right? Instead of
walking into the next room.
But it feels
so different. It's the same, man. It's the same. Just the way that you transition from one room to the other.
Yeah.
That's what sells you on it?
It is a part of the experience.
Perhaps. I don't think it adds to the experience though.
No, it definitely does.
Maybe.
You know, when you beat the level, it happens suddenly in Robotron. So you get the last enemy destroyed, and it's like, right? And you're like, whoa, I did it. You know, there's this like, I got it.
Okay.
It's not quite like that with Smash TV. It is a different experience.
Well, the cool thing about liking something and people's opinions are, you know, it's subjective. So, I mean, I think Robotron's better. Restalgia thinks Smash TV's better, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. So, you know, that's fine.
Why can't we just love them both?
I do love them both. That's the thing. It's not like I hate Smash TV. I just prefer Robotron. Robotron is an arcade classic, and Smash TV is a game that also came out in the arcades.
I will say this. If they're going to bring one of those games modern to the Redemption arcades, it should be Smash TV.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
It should be
Smash TV. I'd like to see Smash TV in real life, but let's call a spade here. Smash TV is a ripoff of Running Man. So they could just make a Running Man, like, real life arcade. I think that'd be funny.
Well, we just put a poll in the chat for you to vote on whether or not you think Robotron or Smash TV is a better game.
You're basically
Ugh.
saying who's better, Michael B. or Restalgia?
That is
I'm
not
not
what
gonna
I'm
win
saying.
this.
This has nothing to do. I'm
Same.
literally just asking which one is the better.
It's the
title.
same. It's the same vote.
It might be. I think it'll be close. I think there's a lot.
I don't think it
of
really
dice
matters, because even if you win this vote, we're going to end this
What do
show.
you mean if
and
I win this vote?
even if you win this vote, we're going to end this show, and I'm going to go to my happy life, and your life is terrible.
We gotta, I realized. Remember that scene in Wedding Singer, and it's like, we gotta cut the cake, or the fat guy is gonna be really upset, and he like looks offended, and he's like, no, that's right. We gotta talk about Mortal Kombat before Zohar gets upset.
Super chat $1.99 Zohar says, "You're not entitled to your opinion when you were wrong." Thank you for the super chat, brother.
I don't know who he's talking to. I don't know if he's saying I'm wrong or if,
I don't think it matters, man.
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
yeah. Okay. Well,
Anyway, so going on. Before we get there though, I want to talk about this. So then he brought on Cyrus and DMAC, and they talked about the marketing for Fast. And I said in my video today, I kind of made fun of it, but I'm being serious here. I don't know if they really explained why they did the marketing the way they did. Like, I didn't understand it. Like, it didn't make any sense to me. Did anybody else pick up what they were saying? Did it make sense to them why they didn't brand and market this cab differently than calling it Fast and the Furious, knowing what they knew about what it was actually going to be?
I think all of that was dumb, and it's super simple. Fast and the Furious is shorter than Fast and the Furious Drift. They market it Fast and the Furious because it doesn't need the additional word. Who cares that it's really drift? It's Fast and the Furious. Even if they branded it as the Drift Cab, we would probably all call it Fast and the Furious, because that's the IP.
That's fine, but when you're an arcade recreation company and you're bringing arcades to the home and you put the original art on the cabinet, you advertise the original game, but you don't technically have the original game. I mean, a lot of people are upset about that.
Yeah, this was an interesting choice of them, of like how far they went into the modern, like the 2004 was like the latest game they've ever put out. And so like nostalgia bones aren't as strong, I guess, for the core demographic, that the casual is not going to care about like the true game. And it wasn't until like I played both that I realized the difference myself. Most people, but I remember the movies. I remember kind of the cars that should have been there. So I think if I didn't even do the research and I bought that cabinet and I was like, I can't play as a Supra, I can't play as an Eclipse, like basic things. I feel like those are things that from a marketing standpoint, right? Like it still wasn't quite done correctly. And they did own up to that piece of it, saying that they recognized there was something that they needed to do better about communicating. Things were coming out after the fact. So at least they owned up to that portion of it.
Yeah, but I agree with that. But I think the request was, make a Fast and the Furious cabinet. I'm sure Universal was like, hey, make a Fast and the Furious cabinet, release it around the same time as our movie. We'll give you the license. And then they just came out with whatever they came out with.
Let's back it up here. So you're telling me that Universal came to them and been like, yo, Arcade1Up, we know you got the hot product on the street. We want you to make this. Or was it more likely John D saying, please give us your license, please?
No, look, they work with Universal on other titles out there. And so they have meetings and they probably brainstorm, what should we do? And they're like, we're totally working on, and it's the marketing people they're talking to probably, we're totally working on a movie, Fast and the Furious is coming out. Why don't you come out with the Fast and Furious cab? That could work. Like, cool, let's do it. So they go do it. And then Eugene Jarvis is pulled in way later. And he comes up with we're going to use the Fast, we're going to port Fast and then modify it. And they were like, sounds good. And then they released Fast and the Furious and everyone got upset. No one thought it through is the answer.
Yeah.
Well, so you know how long this has been in the works, just to give everybody some context? The first time I ever visited John D's office was November of 2021. Fast and Furious was written on his whiteboard back then. So it just gives you an idea of how long the life cycle of planning. And I don't know when that got on his board, but I couldn't say anything back then about it. But that's over a year and a half ago. And so like planning even movie releases that far in advance. I'm sure there was a lot that happened in the development cycle, but there's probably still time to, of course, correct it. Some of them, the later marketing, because a lot of their last marketing things that even Cyrus did was so focused on the cab connectability feature that wasn't anywhere in the instruction. So I think they still had time to course correct, but I think somebody was saying there's very true, I would say, gamers that like know the original arcades as much. And I thought one of the parameters of making any cabinet was to get an original one at the very least, so they could have some reference points. So that kind of makes me worried that they didn't do that in this case.
Conti says, I wouldn't have known it wasn't Fast and the Furious. Like Conti, I don't think you've picked up your cab yet, but Conti's going to pick one up. Our buddy Atul drove over the border. He picked some up while he was in the U.S. last week. Most people just get it. They don't give a shit. They don't care. They don't care that it's chopped, anything. They love the cab. They don't care that the graphics are dumbed down. They're just having fun. Doesn't matter. I made a video and I said, is it really that bad? And then honestly, the answer is most people who bought it really don't care about all the things we're complaining about. They just are really having a lot of fun with it. And it's probably pissing them off that we are focusing on it so much. I mean, MG here in the chat, he was like, I'm grumpy now. I'm going to bed. Just as fast. Leave it alone.
Yeah. I hear you. I think they lied. But here's another interesting thing. The marketing is deceptive. They completely lied. And there's nothing you can do about it. There are other situations where companies lie and they're liable. I think this is one of the things where they could lie through their teeth. You could not take them to court for this because no judge would care. No judge would be like, so you're telling me they came out with this game Fast and the Furious, then they modified that later in the arcade to do drift, and the developer decided to make a port of the later source code and then backport it to the original. Who cares? Case dismissed. Doesn't matter.
When has Arcade1Up gotten it right with marketing? Yeah, I'd be surprised.
So Retro Lab Rat mentions this. Wait till they dumb down Robotron, because I think he thinks like I'm gonna flip out or something like that. I would be really disappointed. Like if I found out that Robotron wasn't right, I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't want it. I could have other ways to try it out. I would love to have a cab that works right with artwork, but it is what it is. I actually brought this up and I said it's hard for me to really have an opinion on this. And I know people are upset if they're big fans. And I brought up the fact that I'm a big WrestleFest fan. I grew up with WrestleFest. I was a huge wrestling fan growing up. And that game is burned into every core of my body. There's a rumor that Arcade1Up is going to do WrestleFest, but it's obvious it's not actually going to be the arcade ROM because they're going to have to change some things. Right. Obviously, the logo WWF doesn't exist anymore, so it's going to be WWE WrestleFest. There's some other things like Demolition aren't currently under contract with WWE under a licensing agreement. They just have new figures coming out in the Major Bendy line, so Demolition probably aren't going to be part of the game. We know Legion of Doom was in Retromania. I don't know if Legion of Doom are under contract. They might not be in the game. So at that point, you're losing possibly 4 wrestlers. Also, Sergeant Slaughter, I think he's no longer with WWE under a Legends contract because he's back with Hasbro now. So 5 possible characters are coming out of WrestleFest. So if Arcade1Up was to release a WrestleFest and those 5 people are missing, especially Legion of Doom are such an integral part of WrestleFest. They're the Jesus bosses for the tag team title thing. Yeah, I understand. If Fast and the Furious meant to me what WrestleFest does, and it was missing all these things, and it was just like a bad port, I understand your anger at the same time. So I'm not.
What if it was just WrestleMania and they called it like WrestleFest, and it was like the same? No, kind of.
You know what I mean. So what I'm saying is, I understand for the people that are big super fans. It's like Blitz. If you're a big Blitz super fan, yeah, I understand that you hated that game and you hated what Arcade1Up did. But at the same time, there's 2 sides to every story because most of the people who bought Blitz, they weren't that big of fans. They just didn't care. They wanted to play some football.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody cares.
Online, and it was fun.
Nobody's ever said like the actual gameplay and implementation of any of those games has really been at the core of the issue. It's just been like more of the information ahead of time. And this is probably the worst case of it because it's truly like not that game at all from a mechanic standpoint. Like things like the Buck Hunter one, like that's the same. It's like truly an add-on. And like even though they're saying drift is an add-on, like a complete car lineup that's different, extra mechanic, a different UI interface. I feel like it's like Metal Gear 2 is not Metal Gear 1, right? Like it is an actual sequel upgrade and not just like an add-on to the original. So there's that argument too.
So, quick super chat from Zohar here, $4.99. Justin's wrong. It's like buying a TV online. You pay for 50, then you get home, it's a 42. It's blatantly lying.
No.
Same thing happens when Restalgia goes to the club.
It's not the
He
same.
tells people he has a 5, really only has a 2.
No, so check this out. He's
I thought less than
actually
a 2.
making my point.
Okay.
If it was as easy as you purchased a 50-inch and got a 42, that's why I think you could take them to court and win. But the fact that they sold a game, you know, that is the dimensions of the game are accurate. They didn't say it was going to have online, and then it did, and they said it has 2 games in it. When you turn it on, you can pick 2 games, and the titles are whatever the titles are, and you get 18 tracks. And so the minutia of the whole, like, it's technically a port. Look, Super Mario All-Stars, all 3 games are a port of Super Mario 3. No one cares. They took
what if you went
Super
to a
Mario
jury
3 and ported it to the Super
Well,
Nintendo.
that's not true.
That's not true
No,
at all.
Super Mario All-Stars for the Super Nintendo, or are you
Yeah.
talking about the 3D All-Stars?
Super Mario All-Stars for the Super Nintendo was a port of Super Mario Brothers 3 that they moved, and it became Super Mario World, right? And then they took part of that port and then took the game mechanics of Super Mario 2 and Super Mario 1 and made Super Mario All-Stars. It's not the 8-bit code. It's not like they took the 8-bit code and turned it into 16-bit.
Oh, I understand.
See what I'm saying? It's like they
I
took
understand
the
what you're saying.
8-bit
You're not
game,
saying
ported it to
okay,
16,
gotcha.
and then took that version. It's almost exactly as Drift. They took Super Mario 3 and ported it to the Super Nintendo, and then took the Drift version, Super Mario 3, and made Super Mario 2 and Super Mario 1. It's not
Yeah.
Super Mario 1. It's not Super Mario
all
2.
those
So
games-
Nintendo stole your childhood from you because they made a crappy version of Super Mario 1 and Super Mario 2 with upgraded graphics.
If you took a judge though and played the original versus that Super Mario, they would look very, very, very graphically similar, right? If you took the Fast and Furious game to a judge and jury and showed them the gameplay and the UI and the starting screen, there's no argument that it's not the same game. So I would say, to your case, right? A jury could say this is really truly a different game. Car lineup from UI interface. What's that? It would just be like whatever. A judge, whoever is judging this, there are more core differences between the two than I realized.
So really quickly, guys, I want to respond to Paul here. Paul, by the way, my friend Restalgia says hi. Restalgia, do you want to say hi to Paul?
Hey, Paul, I just showed up for the stream. What's going on, brother?
So anyways, really quickly, Paul, I agree with you. They don't deserve a pass on this, and no one here is giving them a pass. But you have to understand also, just like MG said, you got to understand there's people out there that just like the game. They're having fun. What are we supposed to do? Tell them, hey, you're having fun the wrong way because that's not the real game. Like, so you have to understand, we are 100% critical of Arcade1Up and what they've done here. But at the same time, you still have to let people, if someone enjoys it, you have to admit, well, people are enjoying it. I mean, no one's giving them a pass, but at the same time, no one's telling people you're stupid for liking the game you like.
Yeah, and first of all, Zohar, you have no clue what my position is. I'm arguing a position. All right, so I'm explaining the technical parts of the argument and saying, what are you going to do about it? Go sue Arcade1Up because there's probably nothing you can do about this. If you don't like it, don't buy it. I'm just saying, even if you scream, they don't care. They're probably laughing all the way to the bank.
Well, and to what Justin is saying, I actually disagree with you that there isn't a case against Arcade1Up in this sense. There's just not a case that makes sense. So you could sue and maybe you would win, but what are you going to win?
Yeah.
There's not enough money at play. They didn't sell enough machines. They didn't generate enough revenue. People in general at a loss. Maybe they've lost $500 or $600 on a cabinet. when you factor in legal costs and everything else that would have to go into it, it's absolutely not worth it. And class action lawsuits are even more complicated because then the legal fees go exponentially large because now you got multiple law firms getting involved. You've got people from across the United States that have to get involved. It's all a mess. Like, nobody can actually hold Arcade1Up accountable legally for this. But also, if you don't like it, just fucking return the machine or don't buy it. Like, it's not that big a deal.
Oh, hold on.
From my perspective.
Hold on for 1 second. 1 second. 1 second, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now reaching the part of the show where Restalgia tells everybody how entitled they are.
Look, I'm upset that the game is missing 50% of the frames. 50% of the frames that are in the arcade were left in the arcade and not coming to your home. That's a fact. Also, they disclosed that. Not on the box, but at least to us in the community that watched their original stream. Because Travis forced them to. Not because they were holding back. Travis asked a ton of questions to learn about the game. And he kept on saying, you have to disclose that. You have to disclose that. You have to disclose that. And then John D had to go figure out what that language even was because he's not a technical person. So he had to go figure out how do we even explain what Eugene Jarvis' team did at Raw Thrills. And so they did say it's 640 by 480. It's 30 frames per second. It's running on a BOE monitor. I think, and I'm not trying to give excuse, you can call it whatever you want, but the previous cab, they gave almost no data, no detail about the cab. And this one, day one, at least to our community, they gave as much detail as possible. And I think they explained everything that John knew. Everything that John knew was explained. And I don't think he knew anything about Fast and the Furious was modified, because when it all came out, he seemed surprised. I think a few of you reached out to him and were like, we were able to get confirmation, but it wasn't like it wasn't like he knew. He had to go ask them, be like, did you guys port Drift or something? And
that's like, not true. John told me that you and him knew.
What?
He told me that you and him knew, and you developed a plan to fool the community. That it was all Justin.
It's all me.
Listen, guys, I don't want to belabor this. The marketing.
No, let's keep belaboring it.
The marketing for the cabinet sucks. Paul Minderman's 100% right. I mean, they just needed to be clear what it was. They can call it whatever they want. They can put Fast and Furious on the box. People can enjoy it. But at the same time, just write on the goddamn description, hey guys, we did a port of Drift that's going to encapsulate both games. It's not really the arcade ROMs, and we'd be done. You know what? Pop the champagne, we'd be on to our next topic. We wouldn't be going crazy about this. Just be 1,000% transparent in your description on your web pages, and then we can move on. Speaking of moving on, let's talk about the rest of the interview, because there was actually something really fun that came up later with Cyrus and David. They started talking about their release schedule for the rest of the year has actually morphed. It's changed quite a bit, because the question Travis asked them was, well, what about that 180s game? And all of a sudden they turned around and they were like, well, about that, it turns out we may actually have more releases than we originally anticipated. And we're going to be changing up our schedule on how we do the releases. So expect one every month, if not one every 2 months. One every 2 months, if not one every month. So was that a surprise to you guys? Like, I had no clue.
No clue.
B knew. B's on the whiteboard.
No, there's nothing else on the whiteboard. It was that and pinball stools, which never happened. So that was the only thing else that was on the whiteboard. But yeah, to your point, I was surprised that they mentioned that there would be that frequent of releases. Like they said, almost like every 1.5 months or something like that. Like something crazy. But yeah, the summer schedule and the fall schedule hasn't been set. We kind of know inklings of what Deluxe Buck Hunter, Time Crisis still on the radar.
Maybe we don't know that.
Machines too.
Yeah,
there's gonna be a Miss Pac-Man. There's gonna be a Street Fighter.
Street Fighter Deluxe.
There's gonna be an Atari Deluxe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the worst case scenario. We all get excited that we're gonna get, new
bunch
titles or
more.
80s titles and it's just like we've decided deluxe is a hit. And he did say that line. I did watch. He said something about, when it's good, it's great, it's great. He said like it becomes a line, it becomes whatever. About the marquee, remember he was talking about that?
Oh, how the marquee was a piece of shit on Fast and
Yeah,
Furious?
basically he said we're sorry about Fast and the Furious having a crappy marquee, but it was kind of earlier in the development. But we do know that the latest marquee that came up was the best idea, so it's going to become like a standard. But he had this expression that he used to describe it. It was like when you have a good product, it becomes a line, it becomes its own thing or something like that. Whatever. What I'm wondering if that's him actually saying like deluxe is we're doing deluxe everywhere. So we got a cab coming out every month and a half. And so we're going to just give you little drops of like, okay, here's the Street Fighter Deluxe.
Well, I brought this up on my video earlier. I think this is the smartest thing Arcade1Up has done in a very long time, is the fact of not doing these huge batch releases to the retailers. By doing it under incremental amounts, one cab at a time or, two cabs at a time, makes it a lot easier for the collectors to actually have the necessary expendable income at certain points in order to pick up more cabs. Because when they come out with like 6-7 cabs at once, I mean, how do you tell your wife, honey, going to Walmart to spend $4,000?
Right.
So it's a lot easier if you're picking up one cab every couple of months, as opposed to trying to figure out a way to do 4 or 5 cabs, all at one time, all in one quarter.
100%. That's what their competition does, right? Like the quarter scale. Don't they just announce one? They're just like, we got turtles now.
Yeah,
that's it. That's the new one. And then they look at Analog, right? The company Analog. They're like, we're coming out with the turbo. It's on pre-order now. They're not marketing anything else. They're just pushing that one product.
Yeah, the difference is with Arcade1Up, however, is sometimes the retailers dictate the release of them. They want to get those out. So, and they, like you said, these things are years in the making or months in the making, and then all of a sudden, like, hey, it's a go. And so it's kind of difficult because sometimes they literally don't know that they're going to be.
Carl, you make a really good point, because it's like they're usually pushing for what's called like a
holiday.
Yeah, holiday, right? We're going to put out as much as we can, give the retailer a ton of options for that holiday. You got Father's Day, you got Christmas. Maybe this is their new strategy. They're like, look, it's not working anymore. That worked great 2 years ago. That means we may see more direct Arcade1Up.com, because this feels like a strategy to sell direct where retailers are not involved.
I'll believe it when I see it. And also, they need to fix their direct to Canada. It's too much. It sucks.
Do you think?
And they also need to get their cabs in Canada, because they don't have them right now.
Do you think?
And we're not getting them till late August.
I see that you're frustrated. Is it possible that they were lying to us? There's nothing coming anytime soon, and they're just gonna.
No, they obviously know stuff is coming, right? Even they've changed up their strategy to not talk about anything until like they absolutely can talk about it. And I think they went through a very similar situation to what iiRcade went through with what was it? Mutant Football League, where they told somebody something and then something got screwed up. And we can say what it is. I think it goes back to maybe the Mortal Kombat 4 fiasco that happened. Maybe not. But right now, they're keeping everything close to the vest until the game is right about to come out. So they wouldn't answer anything on Buck Hunter Deluxe when asked about it. And they weren't going to give us any hints on what was coming out. They were saying, expect release every month. So I think they very much well know what's coming out and when. It's just that's their internal policy right now, and they got to stick to it. You're laughing. What do you know?
I'm laughing at Skynet's. I hadn't thought of that joke. That's a funny joke. That's a good joke. He came up with a clever topical joke. That's all. That made me laugh. It made me
and scene.
Yeah. All right. Well, the last thing that they talked about on the show that I thought was really, really impressive. I don't have the cab anymore because much like other people in the community said, it just didn't work very well. B has it because he's an Arcade1Up diehard for life.
Whore. Arcade
Yeah,
went up
whore.
4.
That's the
Yeah.
right word. So Mortal Kombat 30th and Mortal Kombat Deluxe, they had input lag fixes sent out in an update that was announced in the show. 20 minutes later, it was out on everybody's machines. And B, you played with Travis last night,
Yeah.
playing some live Mortal Kombat 30th. How is the update? Did it make the machine a lot better?
Yeah, for somebody that's fairly casual like myself, like if you didn't notice it before, you probably won't notice it now, right? If it didn't bother you before. For those that are serious players, we had Mel, who is known for being the best
Mel's
Mortal
really
Kombat
good. Yeah.
player on the cabinet and Killer Instinct, and he was in the chat, and I tried to get him on the show, and he was saying like, yes, it's much improved. And several people were mentioning their experience that it was improved, that you can definitely feel it. So I would say yes, it's a big win for anybody that's done it. I think Paul was saying that the lag fix is awesome in the chat. So it's a nice sign that they did this. And I was asking Travis, like, did we know that they were working on this? Was this something that just dropped like officially? And he's like, oh, it's been sort of mentioned in streams that that it's been worked on. So it was a nice surprise, but it does give people hope that, look, they do spend time revisiting cabs that have what they would consider major issues. And the way Travis baselined it was he had to slow-mo capture the frame rate issue and give it to them. So it's like, that's the level of like, this is an issue that had to get done in order for it to happen. So maybe people need to do Vaseline filter pictures or whatever complaints there are, right? I think they need more data of what issues are to be able to fix them.
I think also, I believe this is also mystery encoder, because I think early on when they released fixes for the Street Fighter, they were the ones that said we were able to solve this by changing the driver that the Linux or Android is using to one that can respond quicker. It basically just clean up that input stack. And then they worked with Arcade1Up explaining to their developers the technique. Then we got an official patch coming out for the Street Fighter, one that even was aware of the community patch and would kind of update that as well. And then finally, we're seeing that ported over to a completely different category of a cabinet. I think a different, like Hong Kong is managing that operating system, and then different companies come in for the emulators. And so they're fixing it at that OS level. Where do they stop? Can we get that on Pac-Man? Can we get that on other machines? Because that input latency issue is probably everywhere.
Really quick comment. Jason M brings up, Travis said when they see clear evidence things, it makes it much easier for QA to fix the problem. There was a ton of evidence made for Dragon's Lair audio sync issue, and they did nothing. So there's two parts to that statement. You're 100% right. When there's a ton of evidence, they will look at possibly making something better. But then there's the other side of that. How much money is it going to cost to make this thing better? And is the juice worth the squeeze? And that's what it really comes down to. I understand where you're coming from. A product is a product is a product. They should 100% fix everything. Like, I mean, Pac-Man 40th still has a Vaseline filter. They said they were going to fix that. They never did. So the company should do that. But the way they look at it, they were like, is this going to help us sell any more Dragon's Lair? Is this going to improve the experience? Are we going to do another Dragon's Lair down the line? And I think they decided that whatever it was that, with all the money they put in Dragon's Lair, that's as much as they had to spend on it. So I still hope that they're going to go back and do some kind of audio sync fix. I will tell you that it doesn't play in our favor, the fact that the cab doesn't have a Wi-Fi connected. It's not online. So I think that's also a factor going against that happening.
That's what I was going to say too, is that like they were probably only going to invest in updates for because this input lag fix is also part of their future plans to keep releasing that cabinet in the future, right? This is a done deal. If they did a patch for this, it would be uploaded to the website. You'd probably get a small percentage of people that actually do the patch versus like the general base. So online cabinets, ones that could be re-released, probably are the ones that have those patches, fortunately.
And then a handful of people that load that on their Pac-Man machine and start playing Dragon's Lair on their Pac-Man machine. Yeah.
So really quickly, guys, Detroit Love has to leave us, and I want Detroit Love to get a chance to really chime in some things tonight and say goodbye to the audience before he goes. And I want Carl to know very deeply that we love him. And I apologize if I don't give you enough opportunity to speak sometimes. I feel bad about it. But you gotta jump in, man. Just go.
Oh,
Did you?
again, you guys could talk about this stuff forever, and you guys typically do all week. But and it's the same way. Then I get in, I get out. You know, I just don't. But again, I enjoy hanging out with you guys every Friday. It's not an issue at all. I love you guys. But you know, family comes first here, and they're calling. You know, it's the holiday, and you got tons of shopping and picking up and running and errands and all these things. So as usual, man. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I love this this what I'm looking for, this industry. You know, I love these cabinets. Whatever drama you guys talking about, of course, I don't know anything about that and won't know anything about it. But I appreciate you guys all. Until next time, I'll definitely see you guys on Friday for sure. See you on the web.
Carl, you got to stop with the "I love you" stuff. You're making B uncomfortable.
Oh, B loves me more than anybody. So.
My favorite thing is when Carl tells people in the summertime, "I'll see you on the web," because everybody's like, "I'm gonna see Carl on the web." Carl's off riding like a bike or out in the garden, rolling around in the grass. He's nowhere near the web.
Oh, it's always with me because I have my phone with me. So.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
I peek in, but I just
I'll
don't
see you on the web.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'll see you soon.
Later, buddy.
See you, Carl. And console fanboy, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to go there next. Juice worth the squeeze. If Spectate was on MK, everyone, including myself, would be streaming MK tournaments every week, selling the cab. 1UP sucks. Well, I wasn't going to go there. Thank you very much for the super chat, but I did want to bring this up. One thing they talked about was with the improvement to MK, David McIntosh then did like a call to arms. It's not just about getting loud. We need to see you guys using the cabinet so we get the data and proof that we can invest in the cabinet in order to do Wi-Fi. And I was really caught off guard by that statement. And I was like, I don't think he understands. This is like Field of Dreams. Like, you're telling people to go to, yes, they've improved the lag, but it doesn't have Spectate. It doesn't have a lot of the features that make an online product successful. But you want people to use it anyways in order for you to add that feature. And I mean, it's not like they're not going to make another Mortal Kombat every year. Every year there's going to be a Mortal Kombat cab until this company ceases functioning. Obviously, there's more than enough reason to invest in the cabinet, and you're not going to get more people to play online unless you add these quality of life features that should be friggin' standard for every cab. If you have online fighters, everybody who buys an Arcade1Up is expecting the same features on every cab. So the fact that you didn't have spectate mode on one cab, you still don't have spectate mode on some cabs, in my mind, is just ridiculous. If I buy an Arcade1Up product, every feature on it should be standard. That's what you should focus on, standardization and normalization of your products.
You got to make more hate videos on Scott Baccarat because he's one of the guys that's got a spreadsheet, and you know his goal is he starts with this cab costs $3,000 to make. How do I get that number to $150? Yeah. And how do I make it where I get, you know, Walmart makes $150 just by flipping it, or a $500 profit, whatever. And his answer is not adding Spectate to MK is how we line our pockets with money.
But does he not realize that putting Spectate on MK will sell additional cabinets that will also line their pockets with money?
I bet he's doing the math that 90% of the people that are going to buy it are going to buy it anyway.
Regardless, yeah.
And then they just won't play. Who cares? Like, he doesn't need anyone to buy the cabinet and play it. He just needs them to buy the cabinet.
So you're saying
buy another one.
MK's success is one of the reasons why there's no Spectate.
Look, just like the last debate that we had, this is not how I feel. This is how I think he perceives it.
Can I sum this up?
Yes.
So very, very succinctly. Not that I don't think it should be included, because I agree with Mike. You standardize your features so people know what they're getting on every cabinet. That's what would be best for the consumer.
Yes.
But spectate mode is a value add. It is not a sales driver. So when they're looking at their costs and they're saying, we got to get this as cheap as possible in manufacturing, in development, in support, they're going to cut where they can cut. And spectate mode, realistically, if it was included on the cab, what are they going to sell? A few extra more? Negligible. It'll be completely negligible in the grand scheme of things. So if they cut it out, it's shitty. They should have it on there, but like, it's not, to whatever console fanboy saying, I don't really think it's going to line their pockets with any extra money by having spectate mode built into it. I just
It
don't
would
see.
add more marketing value for like free marketing value because people could be streaming it more.
But-
And not that there's like a ton of people that do it with the other cabinets. That could be part of their reasoning for investing in it. But the groundwork has been laid with the KI spectate mode. So when I asked Travis, like, what is the feasibility of them adding this to MK in the future? They wouldn't retroactively just do this for this cabinet. They probably would wait for the next MK release to then get the license for the Gemini platform, implement it there, then backlog everything else.
So the next
that's
release
it.
after that cab, like the MK2 Deluxe.
Exactly.
Probably.
Yeah.
No,
The like XL version
Yeah,
or
XL.
whatever the thing may happen that we know is going to happen again.
But they
year.
knew about spectate before they released the Deluxe cab.
This is true, but I don't think KI spectate mode was like all the way implemented and done just yet. So it's like, you know how they licensed
Oh,
the Gemini?
you son of a gun. Can the KI spectate mode be reverse engineered to be added
Yes.
to a cab after the fact?
Yes.
Then why not just do it?
Yeah, because it's money. It's like it's
There's
so the
development
way I
costs.
understand it, yeah, because they bought the Gemini platform from Code Mystics to use on things like Class of 81 and all that stuff. So that's why it looks all the same. So the spectate functionality now exists to work with that platform, but then it still needs to be like Travis said, you need
Integrated.
the license.
Integrated.
Yeah, they need to buy the license first to use spectate across, and then they have to have the dev cost to integrate it. So
Right.
I think it's going to happen.
steps.
It's just a matter of when.
Okay, $1.99 super chat from Console Fanboy. I don't want to miss this one. I'm boycotting the next MK cab if no spectate. If he actually doesn't buy the next MK cab when it comes out, I'll buy him a Coke. Thanks for the super chat, Zohar.
Zohar has never bought a Mortal Kombat cab, just to be clear.
He's never bought a Mortal Kombat cab multiple times.
Never not bought it multiple times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways, so that was the show. I mean, Arcade1UpDate, it ended up being much more eventful than I thought it would be. I made a video saying it's hopeful that we'll get a Robotron release, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. I pretty much anticipated the reason he was there was to talk fast, so no big surprise. That was it. We don't know anything really more, just little nuggets here and there, and hopefully MK is better for people. And yeah, that's it. Restalgia, how do you feel about that?
About what specifically?
Arcade1UpDate. I know you were hanging on to every minute of it, every breath.
Can you do it in a handheld analogy?
In a handheld analogy?
Or maybe Evercade analogy?
We'll talk about that next week after their announcement.
Yeah, I am excited to see their announcement next week. We'll talk about that next week. All right, really quickly, iiRcade, huge sale going on right now. Their summer backdoor sale or whatever it is. Backyard sale. I know what it is.
Backdoors. Is that Restalgia doing discounts?
So, anyways, they've got their big sale going on right now. So if you are out there, there's a bunch of titles on sale. One of the big ones is Mayhem Brawler is at 50% off. I love Mayhem Brawler. There was just extra DLC added for it. If you don't have Mayhem Brawler in your collection, $10 is a steal. Go pick up Mayhem Brawler at least. There's a bunch of other like arcade games that I've been on the fence about getting that I'm probably going to pad my library with. Like RGT85 loves the really bad. I think Bash actually brought them to this console, but they're the Arcade Fighters Time Killers. And what's the other one? Bloodstorm? Is that the other one?
Right. The sequel to Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat.
The sequel to Mortal Kombat. So I'm probably going to pick those up because they're on for 50% off too. They're $5. So anyway, some good titles out there for iiRcade for the summer sale. B, you're a bit of a lapsed iiRcade fan. You looking at anything, picking anything up?
Lapsed fan? Does that mean like I haven't played it recently? No, I actually did. Do some modding on it. Does that count as playing with my iiRcade?
Yeah.
Modded your iiRcade.
I did. Yeah, I had to actually relocate the power button because my cat keeps turning it on and it blares in the middle of the day.
Mine too.
Yeah,
that's when I
all
had
of
the
a
original
sudden, like,
iiRcade. Always like whoosh.
Call it
I know.
cat mod.
It is a cat mod. I moved the power button to the front and then the switcher. I'm not picking up any of these sets because I already have Mayhem Brawler. So yeah, I I do this thing where I download a lot of the games, but
I
I
do
don't
too.
always end up playing it. And
Mm.
funny enough, on their stream today, you know how we've been talking about asking Jong to, extend the try before you buy policy, and he's like, he always says anything's possible, but he says that is not possible.
Why is that not possible?
So
That's the stupidest thing ever. You have
he
30
said
minutes.
he
And
said
like
it's
for
not
them to turn
possible.
around and say, guys, you've got ample time, 30 minutes with the, a completely outdated way we add games to your console. 30 minutes is tons of time to decide whether or not you like a game. And then
Yeah.
Brooklyn Menace says, well, what if someone finishes a game in 30 minutes
That
and then
was
they'll
his
just return
excuse.
it?
That was
But
his
that's such a
feedback.
stupid excuse too,
He
because
said it's
the
like,
same people say stuff like Arcade1Up Turtles. Well, you beat it once and you're done with it. Yes, that's part of the quality of the game. If you can get
Yeah.
through it in 35 minutes and you don't ever want to play it again, obviously it's not that great a game. I'd like to fucking
I have
return
an
it.
idea. I have an idea. So they extend it, right?
Mhm.
But then there's an extra policy. You beat it, you buy it.
If you get to the kill screen, you
Yeah,
buy
if you get to the kill screen, it's like it's non-refundable. You beat the game, so you must have enjoyed
I
it.
even just said like just move it to an hour. Again,
Yeah.
and my reasoning, the way I phrased it was like so that it relieves less pressure for doing the try before you buy experience with it. Because there was like it's a no hassle warranty, but like there's pressure to like I have to make a decision in 30 minutes if I want this or not. Not that I've never returned a game. I've still kept all of them. And then some people say that they have returned games with really ease within the 30-minute window. But I still think there's like a pressure in 30 minutes to do everything, to make a decision, and then go with it. It would give that feature just a little bit more like a benefit than.
Here's my real issue with it was the last time Jong was on, and I love Jong, but the last time that he was on, he's telling people that like I have no patience for people saying games are bad if they don't try them. And he's really pushing for people to go outside their comfort level and try games that aren't necessarily games that would draw them in for any other reason. So if you're pushing people to do that and you want people to try these games, you want them to experience it, then you have this super restrictive 30-minute policy. It's anti-productive in that nature. If you have a bunch of games that, let's be honest, aren't the highest quality games, like, there's hidden gems, if you want to call them that.
You can't say
then,
that. That's drama. You said we're not here to talk about drama.
That's not drama. I'm talking about the quality of the games. How is that drama?
Facts?
It's the truth.
Opinion? Subjective?
Well, that is subjective. That's true. But I will say this. If you have games that aren't a known quantity and you want people to explore, maybe come up with a policy that allows them to do just that, that doesn't have a negative effect of, oh, I played the game, I had it for 31 minutes, I can't return it. I don't think he's here in the chat tonight, but I will tell you, Charlie Chuck, who watches our show regularly, hates iiRcade. And the biggest reason he hates iiRcade is because of a nightmare he had trying to get games refunded. So there's obviously something wrong with the refund policy. Pardon?
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's interesting. That's somebody had an issue with the refund policy. 31 minutes. So yeah.
Oh man, that would feel bad if you. Yeah.
I love iiRcade. It's just that one statement of you guys should be trying these games, and if you don't like it, you can return it. When there's a super restrictive return policy, it's just stupid. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this question. Now, what if, and believe me, this is hypothetical, but what if they were to offer some type of stock option equity sharing plan when you buy the game? Would that do anything for you?
What do you mean?
Never mind.
The other news that came out that everybody's trying to allude to is the fact that John came out and said the company is going to almost be going on a pause for a little while because their building has actually been sold. The owner sold the building, and all the tenants have to vacate the building. So there's not going to be any more live streams and kind of production with the company. It's going to be slowed down for a couple of weeks.
So they're going out of business?
No, they're not going out of business.
No, they're just leaving Skokie.
Yeah. So, of course, most people are going to jump on this and assume it's something it's not. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I called this a week ago when they were having those sales. It was totally because they needed to move out. And they were like, hey, why don't we just sell some of these cabs? Then we don't have to rent an extra U-Haul.
Yeah.
Pretty
Or
good.
storage space. That's actually really smart, Justin.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not saying anything else on a B. Last time those iArcade guys came after us crazy.
Oh, you said it. Even saying that, you might as well
No,
say
I
what you really
game
think
over now.
now.
No,
They
it's
got-
open season.
Now let me
buddy.
ask you
Who's
this.
that pot stirrer
Do you
now?
feel pressure that you can't say what you would normally say because there's this thing where like you'll get attacked if you say certain things?
How long have you known me?
So it's weird how there's certain people out there, Mike, that when they pressure you to not say something, you're like, screw you, I'm going to say whatever I want. But when the iArcadians do that, you're like, I guess I'll walk on glass, broken glass. I'll, eggshells. Like,
Mike, you
tell
just gotta,
us how you really feel, Mike.
you got to say whatever's on your mind.
I just spent
Say
like
what's
I just spent
actually
like a
on your mind.
15-minute soliloquy talking about how much
Except
the
for you
return
were
policy
like,
sucks.
wait, I'm not going any further because I don't want to get in trouble.
No, that was after I was making jokes of the fact we did the stream where they said iArcade's going out of business. We're just talking about the office shutting down. It's a joke, Justin. I'm not walking on glass.
Walking on broken glass.
Oh, I love Annie Lennox.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, no live streams though. It's kind of a bummer. Like for that
Big
fan
time.
base. They had
Yeah.
over 100 people joining today's stream. So yeah, it's probably a big hit to that community in terms of like regular updates. They say go to Facebook to get our updates was pretty much the best place.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest part that's missing out on all this is iArcade has always had such a connection with their community, and like John calls it his family, right? So it's been weird the last year without John being involved and without that connection that this whole community had for a long time. So with them going 0 dark 30 for a couple months, I'm not sure how that's going to impact this symbiotic relationship their fan base have developed with them.
Let me ask you this. Because this is just what my brain is thinking, and I have no filter. And if anyone out there wants to make content about me and make fun of me for what I'm about to say,
Before
they
you
can.
Before you say anything,
Yes.
what was the first thing you said on our live stream today?
You're going to be normal. You
You're
This
gonna
is
be
me
normal.
being normal.
You're gonna be
s-
well behaved. You're not.
Well
gonna
I
behaved.
cause
never
some
said I
trouble.
would be well behaved. I said I would be normal,
Listen,
which
the
meant
Super
I
Gamer
wasn't going to
dudes
be
can't-
silly. My
I'm
goal
saying-
wasn't to be silly. I was going to be serious.
We can't on this channel afford to make people upset. It's not an option.
So
Well,
you're
we lost
saying
we gotta
I
make
shouldn't
earlier.
say
we got to
what I
make
wanna
everybody
say
happy.
because it'll upset certain people.
Who cares if it upsets certain people? People can be upset. That's
But you
a
just
them
said
issue.
I can't say something.
I know.
on
I was
this
trolling.
channel.
You can say whatever you want.
Okay. So how are they not going out of business?
I don't know. What I'm saying is people are going to take cues like this. I will believe they're going out of business when they go out of business.
Are
That's
they?
where I'll take it.
Are they? Okay, let me. So they have. Remember, they had a pretty big floor there.
Yeah.
Is it possible that they're going to a place that's smaller? Like what is that word I'm looking for? Like where the
Downsized.
size gets down.
Size
Downsizing.
downing. Size downing.
Size downing.
Yeah.
So you're telling me, what's the first episode of?
So what happened was someone asked in the comments, "Is there going to be downsizing?" And then John says, "No. Yeah,
And everyone's
might
like,
be."
I heard there's gonna be downsizing.
No, there's not going to be. I don't know what to think of this. Like, I'll be honest with you. The reason John gave seems perfectly believable to me. I've been in a similar situation where the building was sold, and I'm dealing with it right now. Actually, I've got to move office space for one of my offices. We're trying to find new space because basically the owner just said, "Everybody get out. I've got a better tenant." So this stuff happens in business.
They can do that legally.
Yeah,
If you
with
have a
notice.
lease,
With notice, yeah.
they have to evict you. At least in my province, if a new landlord takes possession of a property that is currently leased, they would have to then file for an eviction and there's a whole process for that. It takes months to properly evict somebody legally when they have a lease. And oftentimes they have to yeah.
What if the lease was ended?
If the lease was over, it's a different story. But
It's
most
kinda-
leases,
So they ended a lease with a publisher and their building in the same month?
Restalgia,
Yeah.
when you get your degree on contract law, let's come back and have this conversation again. But until then, I'm saying that it's completely legal for them, as long as there's literature in the contract to say that at any time the landlord can evict you within a notice period of X amount of days, they can evict you.
Let me
not
ask you
if
this.
your lease is termed. But yes, you're right. If it's a month-to-month lease, absolutely.
Not if it's a month-to-month lease, if it's in the contract. That's what a contract is.
Mike, you can't have a term that can be broken by one of the parties. That doesn't make sense. That's not an
If
actual
it's in the
agreement.
contract, how do you not know this?
Because
I have a question.
I'm not saying it's. Never
Should
mind.
I be worried?
Put up another poll because you still have the old one up.
No, I closed the other one.
Oh, okay. Who won?
Michael.
No.
Should I
Smash
be
TV
worried?
one.
Okay.
I'm still gonna go to sleep happy because my life is good. Yours is not.
But no, the situation. Why did he even say anything?
I don't know. Because
that doesn't make any sense to me. Like,
Yeah.
if you're moving
You know
to
why?
another location, why would you even say anything? But why?
The reason why you want to be transparent is because something bad is going on. If it was nothing, then he wouldn't say anything. But the fact that it is something, he's saying something. And what he's saying is somewhat transparent, but not fully transparent. Because if nothing was going on, then he would say nothing. Something is going on. Take that to the bank. Can't argue with logic.
It was just a see you later notice. That's all.
Yeah. And Hobby Hands, I'm giving Restalgia a hard time because Restalgia, I don't know if you know this about him, is a bit of a know-it-all. So I like to say things like, does he actually know what he's talking about? That's the only reason I said that. And none of us know. None of us have seen the agreement. We don't know. But like Biggie D said, they were given sufficient notice, so everything's on the up and up.
Do you know,
Like
I
said-
actually heard who's got the lease. It's going to blow your socks off. PK.
At Games, Games bought the building.
At Games bought the building.
You know that as funny as that is, I remember when the Legends Pinball was coming out, and I remember hearing, yeah, At Games are they have an opportunity to get the Zachariah games, and I was like, oh, that's a great idea. Let's just kill Well Played Pinball because they're dead now. It's basically the same thing.
Wow, that happened, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, sometimes a move like that can kill a company.
I'm to your point. I'm just not understanding why you would say anything about the move. Because
I went back and watched it again to make sure I had the right stuff. And he really talked about there's a lot of stuff going on. And it's, one of the reasons anybody can say what they want to say about us, about like the show we did and say, oh, you're trying to, come up with a narrative or something like that. But literally everything we talked about was, here's the fact. How do you guys feel about it? That's what we talked about on the stream when we had the iiRcade guys on. And there's been a lot of this stuff going on. I mean, the stuff with Double Dragon, that it's no longer on the store, and the lease is up. We don't know if it's coming back. There's all this stuff going on. And I think, honestly, he just wanted to share with people and get it out there. I think that's the kind of person Jong is. I don't think it was a strategic business move. I think he just really wanted to let some steam out about it and talk to people about it.
Yeah, well, I think it's fair to criticize all the companies no matter what. I mean, like
100%.
Arcade1Up not being at Walmart, not in store for a very long time. Their latest cabinet, they only made 3,000 of them or 6,000 of them, not 50,000 of them. QVC doesn't have any partycades anymore. There's like their business is going down, right? That I'm talking about Arcade1Up.
Oh, all of them are, like, except for At Games, because At Games are the cockroach of the video game world. They will survive a nuclear holocaust and still be here.
It's funny, true. And I wonder if Arcade1Up, that's why they have so many different products, because they wanted to diversify. But honestly, I don't think any of their products actually gave them that diversified portfolio they were hoping for. It's if they fail in one category, they're failing in all categories. Whereas with At Games, they actually have a diverse platform where they could always go back and just sell consoles to Walmart or flash drives to, whatever, the little thumbsticks and to Walmart, and they'll make a ton of money, and they have a small overhead. That's why they'll survive.
All right, congrats on going up for over 2 hours. Do you have any more topics left?
Oh, so many.
Yeah.
You need Dubs here to get this going. Do you have to
Yeah.
go somewhere, B? Do you have
No, I
somewhere
gotta
you
take
need
a
to be?
big piss and then I'll come
Me
back.
too.
Well,
That's
you
where
just
I'm at.
use Justin's new P glass
on.
he has attached to his pinball machines.
Hold on.
Do it live on air. I do have a buddy that actually does have a piss jug.
No, don't.
I
Why?
swear to God. Ooh. Really quickly while Justin's peeing. Quarter Arcades. Pre-order came out for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Quarter Arcade machine. It looks amazing. Let me bring it up on screen for you guys if you haven't seen it already. I'm sure most people have, but I'm going to bring it up anyways. So here is the pre-orders are now live. Your first looks at the cabinet. So if you go in, you can read the specs, check out all the awesome pictures here. Trying to keep it all on screen. That's the machine there. It looks excellent.
Nice.
And then behind these doors are also 4 USB slots. So if you find the controls a little bit hard to play with, you can plug in an external controller.
Can you fit 4 people around that? Is that like the thing?
There's no way 4 people are going to be able to play this at the same time.
You totally could. Look at that. There's so much space.
So much space. But I mean, cab looks great. It's going to have the actual arcade ROM. So remember with the Arcade1Up version, you were like the weird heroes in the half shell part where they changed the audio. We're not going to get any of that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, this looks like it's going to be pretty dope. But here's the trick of it. It's only being sold through certain retailers. So you either got to go through the official Konami shop, or there's another one that I think it's like Get Geek or something like that. And if anybody hasn't checked out the price point on it yet, get ready because it is $300 US.
But Mike,
wow,
you are skipping the most important thing.
What's that?
For $300, you not only get that beautiful Turtles quarter scale cabinet, you also get a pre-order exclusive Turtles coin that is highly sought after and highly collectible within the coin collecting community.
You collect coins, do you?
I do not collect coins.
Highly sought after.
I have one coin that I was gifted. But no, I do not collect coins.
I think this is awesome. I would love to get it. I am struggling with that price point, though, and I hate to be that entitled guy because I know Restalgia is going to call everybody entitled now when we talk about the price point. But what happened was, I mean, they had a real come to Jesus moment over the pandemic where they said, we may have to switch to plastic for our cabinets. And everybody said, no, we'll stick with wood. We'll pay more. So how much were these cabs before? Because, I've only bought these kind of on like clearance on, what do you call it? I got a Pac-Man one sent to me, and I got Miss Pac-Man one was sent to me for a review. I got the Pac-Man, gave it to me as a gift, and I bought my not Centipede, Galaxian cabinet on clearance. So it was only like $75 plus shipping and handling. So how much is the regular MSRP for these before the pandemic?
If I recall correctly, they were either $199 or $229.
I think,
but I think $199.
I think that's Canadian.
Well, Dig Dug is $170 right now. You can still get it from Amazon. So $169.99 is retail.
So I mean, $299. Like, I understand the price going up a little bit because you want to use wood parts, but I mean, that's a big jump. And you could say, well, it's because of the Turtles license. If I'm not mistaken, I think Space Invaders was $300 too.
$300, yeah, it was.
I mean, like, that's a huge jump.
Yeah, but Mike,
what are we talking about here?
Mike, you're getting an exclusive collectible
I will take
coin.
that coin and I will bury that coin so far in your rectum. Honestly,
respond to that.
You'll be spitting stuff out like a friggin' slot machine from the top. I'm going to put it that far out there.
Doesn't sound like it's so bad.
But, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you go from $100 increase. Let's say it's $100. That's a lot for wood for a very small cabinet. Is that how they're justifying the massive price increase?
No, they're justifying it because you're going to buy it. It's the same price increase model that McDonald's has. The dollar menu at McDonald's is $3.
I know.
Their sales
that happened
are
quick,
just as good as they were years ago.
Yeah.
Everyone's still buying a hash brown, even though it's triple the price.
So, yeah, the other day I saw a commercial for, it was a great McDonald's commercial for talking about when people get their license, that first time you take the car out from school and go get takeout, you always do your first drive-through at McDonald's. And they were like, and we got you covered because you can buy a McDouble or a junior chicken for $3.19. And I was like, those numbers seem familiar. But they were in a different order like 6 years ago. It was only $1.39.
That's right.
Like, it's amazing how quickly these prices jumped up for McDonald's too. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But guys, you're getting a pre-order exclusive collectible Turtles coin. You're missing the most important thing.
Buddy, that's mint.
It is mint.
I will tell you, when I saw this, when Restalgia tweeted this, is how I learned about it.
Shill.
I didn't look at the. I almost responded with, "Where's your, affiliation disclaimer?" But whatever.
Just put an affiliate.
I didn't really. The coin didn't pull me in. I was just like, so I bought a Turtles Arcade 1-Up. I don't have it anymore. I gave it to my friend. I didn't like the 4 players, but I can get down with this. And the $2.99, I don't know, man. Like, it's expensive, but $150 is also expensive. I'm not trying to I didn't purchase.
But Justin,
you know what?
it's literally twice
$300
as
is
expensive.
expensive, but half of $300 is also expensive.
No, it's a choice to purchase, right? So
Yeah.
I didn't choose to add to cart, and I didn't check it out. So obviously the $2.99 did stop me.
Or did it stop you?
I don't know. I look, I haven't bought any of these quarter scale, but I've been thinking about it and to me in my head, it's okay, wait a second. What if I own this, but then I don't own that? So it's like, okay, maybe what if I don't buy an Arcade 1-Up Turtles again, but I just buy this? And so then you start justifying the price. And it's like, okay, I would have like a Turtles cab, but it's replica. It's just
It has
smaller.
a stool.
No, that's
Yeah,
like the
there's another-
$700 package.
Wait,
isn't it?
this is a more expensive one?
Yeah. And this one's
What?
signed by the co-creator. This is signed by Kevin Eastman.
Oh, dang. I totally don't need this at all.
Eastman and Laird, right? That's the two creators?
I think it was just signed by
No, I'm asking who the two creators are. I'm trying to remember.
Eastman and Laird.
Yeah. Is that
Shut up.
Netflix
Don't tell
episode?
people where I live.
Oh, it's
But
only
see-
$3.99.
But here's the thing.
That's a
Frickin'
better
Michael
value.
B. You're probably
There's
going
no
to
coin.
spend $1,000 tomorrow on a Godzilla topper, okay?
We're going to talk about that in a minute. I got that loaded up.
Do you? I can't mix scales. So as a person that collects toys in different scales and things, at this, I think would be too much. I'm just going to stick with New Wave at this point. I do like my little mini arcade collection, but for folks that have both, do you put them on different shelves? Do you mix the 1/4 scale with the 1/6 stuff?
What are you doing, Mike?
Oh, yeah, that's my private life. You don't need to see
You're obviously not listening to me.
I was like, I've had enough of this conversation.
I know it's these. You can see my chat saying, "Can I come? I want to play too."
Oh, Mike.
You've
Good for
bored
you.
me.
Does anyone own multiple miniature arcades?
I do.
I do. I have a fleet of
B,
replica
let me
now.
re-ask B's question. Do you put them on different shelves? How do you put them next to each other? How does that work?
So what I do with each of them, because I've got really small ones, like really small little guys. Then I got the 1/6. I've got the 1/4. I've got the 3/4 scale, and then I've got the At Games one. What I like to do is I grab hooks and I drill into the back. I add some twine and I hang it on my Christmas tree.
Okay. I thought you
You're
were going
gonna
to
be like
explain
the Russian doll, where like the big one goes into the next one, into
So-
the next one, into the next one.
Justin, this is specifically for you. What I like to do is I get the cabinet I take it out of the box. I get everything lined up. I make sure the power's charged, and then I shove it up your butt.
I thought Restalgia was going to explain how he puts them all on a single diorama.
Yeah.
And then B was going to flip out because it's like, you have to do it all to scale.
So I got in my new game room, I got a shelf that it's one of these weird wall shelves. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. These random, like, just pieces of the wall that come out and go down. So I got a wall shelf that runs behind the TV and my Godzilla pinball. I think I'm going to put all my Replicades and my Quarter Arcades along that shelf in my new game room.
I'm going to put all my New Wave toys just right on top of my Godzilla because it's cheaper than buying the topper.
We don't know what the topper's like yet. Anyways, guys, let us know in the chat. Is anybody interested in picking up the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or the Turtles in Time? Because you get an option of either one, whichever one tickles your fancy the most. You can pick up either one. It's going to be $2.99, and then the bundle is $3.99 with a coin. No coin in this one, but with the other one, you get a coin, and Restalgia will be really jealous.
Yeah, don't buy this one. Buy the one with the coin. It's a better value because you get a really gem mint, highly collectible, highly sought after Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collectible coin.
All right. And then last but not least, we'll end it on pinball because we're all pinball channels now. So I shared this in the chat earlier, just really quickly for people that are interested. If you're the kind of person that adds extra things to your machine for visual purposes, people have been waiting patiently for Stern to come out with a topper and some additional art things for Godzilla. It looks like Tuesday is going to be the big day. We're finally getting the Stern Pinball Godzilla topper. It'll be unveiled on Tuesday, and it's going to be lower price. People that collect these, I mean, for God's sakes, the Rush one was like $1,700. Mandalorian was $2,000. This one's going to be $1,000, which is not an inconsiderable amount of money for a topper, but the topper is interactive. What do you guys think? I know I threw it out to you, Justin, and you were like, FOMO. What about you, B? Restalgia, you're never going to have a real pinball machine because your life's terrible. So I'm just going to ask the other two guys.
I mean, talking about this is just getting me more FOMO, Mike. I mean, come on. I was talking to the guys how I've pretty much put almost $20,000 into pinball, and I don't even have the freaking pinballs that I've ordered, like out of my bank account, paid for. So this is just reeling that I might spend more money on something that I don't even have yet. So that's where I'm at. I don't even know what it looks like, but
Yeah, but see, who's gonna say, is this you get it from your retailer? You just really have to pick the retailer you trust, not the one that's gonna hold your money for 6 months.
Maybe. I mean, but I don't think it's the retailer. I think it's just the pinball hobby. It's like you have to be, pay more to get it now for this. It's just a weird hobby space that I've not enjoyed being a part of the last 10 months of this side of it.
Well, you've had a rough run. I mean, like the rest of us have had a pretty good run. I was like,
oh yeah,
buy Godzilla, and then it was there in like 2 weeks.
Yeah. No, but I'm with you on that Foo Fighters because I got that email like I think it was a month ago now, right? Or the beginning of this month. That was like, hey, it's going to ship in 2 weeks, so pay us now.
Yeah.
And
but toppers, all the accessories then, and like, so they're the price point models with the Pro, Premiums, LEs, and then you have official art blades, you got official toppers, you got official mods for shooter rods, like everything adds up. And like, now I'm just learning, like, if this were a home arcade product and they kept adding like upgrades to like make it the ultimate version, right? Are people still gonna keep doing like official things to it? But people go nuts over them, and like $1,000 for a topper that just does stuff. I'm already starting to be like very frustrated with the modding side of things that I haven't even gotten them yet.
Have you heard about these experience lights, like Rush with their last set of upgrades?
Yeah, expressive lights is what they're called.
Expression lights, that's what they're called, right? Expressive lights.
Yeah.
Anyways, they were like $600 US, weren't they?
Yeah.
It seems to be a big niche market, like of all these add-ons and stuff like that. So I I talked to my wife about it today, and I was like, "Hey, I'm going to buy this Godzilla topper," and she was like, "Oh, okay. How much is it going to cost?" And I was like, $1,000 US. Then she started saying all these really stupid things about like, "Are you serious? We need a new oven. We need a new mattress for the bed." Just like all this nonsense trying to get me not to buy it.
She kept on talking about how I never paying attention to her or something like that. I wasn't
don't know,
really paying
wasn't really
attention.
listening.
So for like the current pinball that I have Star Wars, and then I have like my At Games Legends pinball that I turned into Star Trek. So I was like, I could just like make my own decoration topper for stuff. So in terms of like toppers, it's totally not required at all. And
But you
not
haven't
many
seen
places.
it yet.
I know, but I went to a toy store yesterday and I saw a freaking Godzilla figure, and I'm like, maybe that'll be a good topper. It
Well,
costs $30,
here's the thing. I don't know if you know this, but the Stern toppers the last little while, they actually interact with the game.
Correct.
So there's certain
Yeah.
things that happen with multi-ball and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
there's a reason to do it. It's just I don't know where I stand on it. Like I don't know if I'm willing to really drop like $1,400 Canadian. Plus shipping. Conti was kind enough to tell me that Nitro Pinball, their shipping's only around like $30 US. So that helps out a lot, but still it's like $1,400. And the other thing too is like I ordered art blades from a place called Game Exchange of Colorado, thanks to Scott James, or Mad Astra Gaming was telling me about it. They never came. I'm thinking about canceling them now. I don't know if I need to do all the updates. Like really, I think I'm good with just the shaker motor and that's it. So I don't know if I'm going to do it or not.
So I was
Side
about to
blades
say
are
that,
really
like,
good though.
They are cool, but
They're
they're
super
sold.
cool.
They're sold out everywhere. This place was supposed to have them available in like 2 to 4 weeks. It's been like 3-4 months now.
yeah, though that sucks for that company. In the US, there's like 2 companies that have been using, and the shipping is very quick, and so that's satisfying. But I think like the shaker motor, 100%, and that's where it's exciting. Where okay, $1,000 for this topper. Yes, it integrates with the machine. I'm usually looking at the play field. Even when I go at Up Down, they have a topper on the Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's pretty cool, but it's not like I'm sitting there like flipping out like how great it is. However, none of the arcade machines have a shaker motor. And for $100, it's just $100. The return on investment on that is so great. I got a second one now for Jurassic Park. And when it's the T-Rex multi-ball, dude, that thing just flips out on the T-Rex multi-ball. And you go to the arcade, they don't have shaker motors, and none of the arcades I go to that have pinball machines have shaker motors. So I feel like I have highly reduced my going to arcades more recently, as the pinball machines I have become more premium than the ones that they have, and I clean mine monthly and they don't.
Well, I mean, you also got to think most of the arcades, and of course I don't live by any, but from my understanding, the policy usually with the arcades is they really stop at the pro level because there's less moving parts, less maintenance, less to keep up. While collectors, like us, well, I say us when I have one pinball machine and I'm probably never going to buy another one. But like, we'll probably buy more of the premium or LE because it's an at-home experience. It's not going to get the same damage, and we want the extra features, right?
Yeah, I will say I told my wife today when you messaged these toppers, I was like, oh man, Michael B's giving me FOMO over these toppers. It's like $1,000, but it helps the pinball machine keep its value, because and I believe that because I've been looking at prices and I see machines that are more expensive than retail, and even $1,000 or $2,000 more because it has the topper. Like that topper does bring that price higher. But I want to mention, like, I just bought okay, yes, a topper is $1,000. Ignore that for a second. I'm doing an upgrade on my Godzilla where it's just the UFO saucer, the pop bumper.
Oh, yeah, you're doing that one, eh?
It's $20.
Yeah.
That's it. And it hides the screw holes. I haven't done it yet, but I've seen a picture of it. When I bought it, I was like, okay, $20 is enough where I'm like, hey, when I'm buying wax from you, okay, I'll throw the $20. And I started thinking, I was like, oh, maybe in 3 months, I'll add the little $20 Godzilla figure and like add that in just kind of over time. but not the $1,000 is kind of much.
But it's
It's a lot.
official. I mean, it's cheaper than some of the other ones.
Yeah.
But and the other thing about toppers, official ones, they sell out quick, and
Big time.
then you can never get them, and
FOMO.
they're marked up. So I mean,
That-
1,000 will be the cheapest you can get it. If you're gonna get
Ever.
it, this is the time to get it. Like the Star Wars R2D2 one is like almost 2-3 grand, and it came
Yeah,
out. And, it was
and
like $5,
they're
$6.
saying that they're only doing one run of this.
Yeah.
So
Jeez.
there's no other runs planned. So
Okay, so we're
like-
all buying it. Is
yeah,
you're
that's
saying?
what I was
Now,
telling my
thanks,
wife.
B.
I was like, I got to make up my mind Tuesday. or I'm
No,
just
you
not
don't need a
getting it.
top. So if you're getting multiple pinball machines, if none of them have toppers, then you don't need to get them. So
Well,
like
that-
I'm probably gonna skip the toppers. Like I don't think I need them on my arcades.
Yeah, so that was the other thing I was thinking about. I was like, man, I'm going to drop like $1,500 on
Don't
this
do it.
topper.
Not worth it. Not
And
worth
then
it.
I was thinking about like that's $1,500 could go towards Tales of the Crypt though.
Yeah, I'm talking you guys out of buying the toppers. It's not worth it. If all of them don't have it, just to have one of them, it's gonna look a little bit weird.
I told that stuff to my wife, and she's like, "You need to get out of that.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
okay." She's
Yeah.
like, "Be okay with buying one thing for one,
Mm-hmm.
and not this whole you not gonna buy any because now you're gonna have to do it for all of them."
Mm-hmm.
So I went ahead and bought a shaker motor,
Mhm.
and then I bought 2 more.
But that makes sense. Like those types of mods, I think are good. But like toppers, like that investment, I don't think it adds that much more. Even though to your point, it does get integrated into some of the things. I've played a few games where I've seen it, but your eyes are just like not always looking up there. It's for everybody else to look at. So save the toppers for like one place.
I think you're playing pinball wrong. You don't look at the playfield. You're supposed to look around in other
Yeah.
places.
Yeah.
Probably why your scores aren't as good as me and Justin's.
Oh,
I tell you
thanks.
why I'm not going to get
Uh-huh.
the topper. I think
Yeah.
it's all FOMO. It's a collector's thing, and
Mhm.
maybe if I want to get it, I'll get it because it's a collection. It's
Yeah.
a collector item. It's like an investment if I want to do it, but it won't be because of the gameplay. Because
Correct.
recently someone commented, I didn't know this. I made a video. I was talking about pinball, and the dude's like, "This is what you need to do. Go into the settings, go to standard adjustment, go to number 96, and change it to 10. It will change your life." And I
What
did it. It's great. It's really good. All it does is what I just explained is how to dim the back box.
Oh, I see.
By default,
So it
it's on
doesn't have-
100%.
hmm
And you bring it to 10. And so when the game is in a track mode, it's still bright 100%. But the moment you start the game, it goes. And when you look at the playfield, you know how you can kind of see the reflection of the back box?
Mhm.
Disappears.
So I will tell you the truth. I'm going to make a deal with my wife. I'm going to tell her, listen, honey, I'm not buying the topper. I will buy the mattress on one condition. You have to top me. So we'll see how that goes. I'll give you an update next week.
And with that, everybody, Super Game Room Dudes Friday
Has
night.
been canceled. Good night, everybody. Hopefully P-Dubs is back next week to keep us on track. Oh my God, 2.5 hours. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
If you double your time, you would go at 2 hours and 36 minutes. So you got 13 more minutes left.
We have 13 more minutes.
Yeah,
You have one more
okay.
topic in you, right?
Well, Restalgia,
kidding,
what do you
though.
want to talk about? You've been quiet. Been quiet. Like a
Would
little
you ever
girl.
buy a real pinball machine? Would that ever be in your hobby to
Yes.
collect?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would. I would buy a single one.
Mhm.
I know what one he'd buy too, and it's terrible. It's
Batman?
this goddamn Batman
66?
the Dark. No, he wants to buy Batman the Dark Knight. He's like, look at Christian Bale.
Anyways, so,
There's a
Restalgia
Batman
likes
Forever
Michael
is a fun
Keaton now.
table. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm not sure. Mike is right that I'd be more inclined to pick up a Dark Knight table, not necessarily because I think it's like an amazing game, but
Mhm.
because like I already have like a ton of Batman posters, and I've got a
So the IP
one-to-one
was
replica
okay.
of the
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
you guys have seen the Batman suit that I used to have behind me. That's like a one-to-one replica suit. And it was very expensive. So, like in my mind, I'm like, okay, that would just be cool to add to the existing Batman stuff I already
That's
have.
what I thought though. I was like, I'm just gonna get one pinball machine for life, and like IP was tops for me. So I was like, Star Wars is an amazing IP. I could care less about the game. I played it once, and then I was like, is it enough? And I've enjoyed it. I've done my own mods to it, but like, it wasn't enough.
I have impulse control though.
Yeah.
So
Do you? But
I
have
do.
you played the Dark Knight table though? Like so.
He has.
Yeah,
I
and
did
you,
play it.
I
you
was right
enjoy
next
it?
to
You
him.
think-
yeah,
you
I
think
played
it's
it
a
for the
fun
first
table?
time actually
Yeah.
with Mike.
Yeah.
I had played pinball. I can count on my hands the number of times that I played pinball growing up. It really wasn't something that was widely spread.
Yeah.
in
Same.
the like mid
Same.
90s, 2000s, kind of in the environments that I grew up in. And then I did play a bunch of tables, but I don't know.
Nothing.
When we were in Ottawa, I think the best table that we played or that I played, I either liked Stranger Things or Deadpool as like the top two that I played. But I did play Dark Knight, and I played a bunch of the older ones. I played Street Fighter, which was fucking horrible. Really
Yeah, some
bad,
games are bad.
really poorly designed game.
Oh, Pinside rankings. Oh, that's
Can you
fun.
believe that Foo Fighters jumped to second place?
Yeah, with
That's
the
interesting.
premium. Yeah, it's now the number 2 table of all time out of every game that's ever been made. It's
Yep.
ranked.
It doesn't have the number of ratings,
It
but
does 53.
even what's that?
53 premiums.
Yeah, you compare it, right?
Mhm.
Go compare it to
Mhm.
these other games, right? So it doesn't,
Yeah.
Godzilla, how many got
Mhm.
300, 500, but those have been out for a while. But Attack from Mars was in first place for a long time, right? Before Godzilla came out.
Mhm.
Or I think it was up there. It was higher.
Medieval Madness was
Medieval
number
Madness,
Is
Jurassic
that the one
Park,
that's
Attack from Mars.
yeah. But it's still something, right? The fact that when most of my friends that I have in Des Moines are not super pinball fans, but recently I've been taking them to the arcade, and it's fun. It's really fun to give someone who doesn't play pinball machines very often just a quick course. Aim for this game is like this. You're playing as Godzilla and you're going from city to city, and this is your goal, right? This is some of your objectives. It's like 10 seconds, and then they all of a sudden are really excited, and they got really good scores actually. And like, I haven't played in years, I should do this more often. Anyway, so we had played through a couple of those games, and like Rush was a lot of fun. We played Foo Fighters, we played Godzilla, we played Jurassic Park. But I guess my point I was saying is I don't know where I was going actually. I chose to say that because it was funny.
This table's made by Jackie Donger, right?
Yes, retired Twitch streamer Jack Donger.
Jackie Donger. He goes by Jackie.
Jackie now. Okay.
See, you don't know that. You don't know that. You haven't watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine yet. See, that's why you don't get that reference.
Sorry, I don't.
No, you got to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine though, Justin, because it is Andy from The Office.
Yes.
Plays a what is it? A auspice, the U.S. Postal Service crime division, and he's Agent Jack Danger. So they show up and they're like, "Oh, Jack Danger, what a badass name!" So they said, "So excited to be working with you, Jack Danger." And he goes, "It's actually pronounced Jamin. It means good at fiscal. It's actually pronounced Donger. It's German for good at fiscal management."
I see.
Less exciting.
Yeah, my wife loves that show. I watch
Love
it every
Brooklyn
now and then
Nine-Nine.
with her.
I think you can pull the plug now.
It's
Are
all
you
up to
making-
Restalgia. He's leading this ship. It's been his show the whole night.
Oh, I know what I was thinking. I'm sorry. Last point. I will tell them, my friends, we're at this pinball place. It has Godzilla. It has Foo Fighters. It has Jurassic Park. And I'm like, these games came out recently. And a good friend that I've had for years, he starts talking about, I remember playing Attack from Mars, Medieval Madness, because he's relating it to 90s, right? Early 2000s when he played. And I was like, what's cool is these games, I'm like, Godzilla came out 2 years ago. Jurassic Park came out a couple of years ago. Foo Fighters came out this year. They're in the top 5. And then I say, we live in the golden age of pinball right now, where the best games from 10, 20 years ago are still around and still being maintained, and you can buy them. And some of the best games ever made are being produced right now.
Yeah,
that's cool.
This is true. It's a sucky time to start getting into the hobby. So
actually, prices are starting to come down a little bit now, apparently, on the secondary market. But you know what's really funny about this? The difference between, I've been watching a lot of pinball YouTube lately because, like, you know, this is how this roller coaster starts. This is how I'm actually going to turn into a pinball YouTube channel, because I start watching all the content, I start getting really excited, and then I want to talk about it all the time. So I've been watching a lot of content, and one thing I noticed that's very different from like what we do right now with these home arcades and multicades and shit that they do is they don't just look at the quality of the game. They look at this as an investment. They talk about the financial value of it. Like one of the guys from Straight Down the Middle talks about he sold a certain table because he was like, I was worried. I think it was, I can't remember. I think it was some kind of Jersey Jack table, and he was worried about it retaining its value. So that's why he actually let it out of his collection. It wasn't that he didn't want to play it anymore. He was like, I wasn't sure if it was going to, you know, retain its value. So I wanted to get it out while it was still
Stock
up.
pins. Yeah. Stock market pins.
Yeah. But it's the same thing we've been hearing from years. For like, I'd get comments in the chat from people that are like home arcade collectors, and they're like, yeah, those Arcade1Ups aren't going to be worth anything in 10 years. And I was like, what are you talking about? I don't think they're worth anything now. I just thought they were cool and I wanted to play with them. Like, you know, we never ever took it like that. It's an investment.
It's not
but
investment.
I think
No,
it's not. But I think that's one of the disconnects between like real arcade collectors, real pinball collectors, and the home arcade stuff is they see it like we're wasting our money, because to them this is this, you know, really smart financial investment on top of it being a hobby in their mind. And they think we're just wasting our money.
But that's because you're not a real Arcade1Up collector.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah. If you were a real Arcade1Up collector like me, you would keep them sealed in the box in your garage.
And you'd buy two.
MISB
That's right.
value.
That's right. You got to keep them sealed in the box. So that way, when you flip them 30 years from now, you can say it's brand new in box, Arcade1Up, whatever, and you're going to get top dollar, bro. Top dollar.
That's right. Because in 30 years, there won't be wood anymore.
That's right. It's all going to be plastic.
Super valuable.
Or synthetic. It'll be some sort of like silicone-based polymer that they're going to use instead of wood. It's just going to be garbage.
And your buyer is going to be a robot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's their nostalgia.
Yeah, because you'll program them with the nostalgia. So
that's right. And be like, sucker.
Yeah. It'll be great.
How the economy is going to work then.
Anyways, guys, I don't know if we should leave or try to go another 7 hours, but I'm starting to get really tired. People are leaving. I think it's time we pull it a plug. We've gone so long. It was just as bad as I thought it was going to be tonight. Like it was
a really
brutal.
bad show. This is one of the worst shows I've
all
ever
you
done.
guys that stuck around, we know you're the real fans. Hit the one in the chat to let us know how much you care about all of us individuals.
Mostly me. Mostly me. I just want to know how much you guys care about
before we go, guys, we should check on P-Dubs one last time. Just give me a second here.
Is he okay?
Well, let's check on P-Dubs. You guys forget P-Dubs was here the whole time. Just going to bring him back up on screen here for a second just to check on him.
You okay there, P-Dubs?
And P-Dubs is joining the show once more. There he is, P-Dubs.
He's still all right.
He's still in the same spot.
He's
Guys,
just
there's
tuckered
P-Dubs.
out. He's
a little tired tonight. Everybody say thank you so much for P-Dubs, even with everything going on, for still joining us tonight. Thank you so much, P-Dubs.
And my final comment of the night, I'm going to steal it from JR. It's true. It's true. P-Dubs is not here. It's official. The Super Game Room Dudes is going out of business.
That's my Monday stream. Are Game Room Dudes out of business in 2023?
See, listen, P-Dubs didn't join. He's constantly saying he's not feeling well, but really we know that's a cover-up for he's just out of material.
There.
I see what you did there.
Nostalgia has a lot of dead hookers in the background. Anyways, guys, good night. We don't have Carl for the intro, so we'll just say
outro,
intro. It's really late. Everybody have a wonderful night. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. May all your experiences in the arcade this weekend be fantastic. Have fun with your family. And most importantly, fuck Restalgia. Good night, everybody.
Jeez.
It was a little bit more than I'd like to do.